Back in the day, the bad boys got all the hype. But times changed. The new president slammed the brakes on that toxic trend, vowing to completely wipe out teenage crime. On the outside, this spot looks like your average boot camp. But for these problem kids, it is straight up hell on earth. It does not matter if you are a ruthless gang boss or a politician's spoiled kid. In here, you are literally stripped down to an animal. They get crushed by brutal nonstop physical conditioning. No talking, no eating like a normal human being. They are forced to grunt and eat out of troughs like literal pigs. Every punk gets a grade branded on their chest based on their rap sheet. The higher the score, the worse the torture. You do not leave until they decide your brain is completely rewired. Just look at Joe Chang-soo, the notorious kingpin who used to make the cops sweat. They only stamped him as reformed after they fried his brain, turning him into a drooling mess. This whole disaster started because the old Youth Protection Act basically gave teenagers a free pass to go wild. Teachers who tried to keep them in check just put targets on their own backs. These kids could literally end someone's life and not even flinch, totally flexing the fact that the youth law made them untouchable. It created this toxic era where grown adults were terrified to correct a teenager scared of getting jumped. The adults were constantly walking on eggshells. But the game flipped when An Moon-sun took office. He trashed that weak youth law and dropped a massive update. The Special Rehab Act, slaps on the wrist canceled. If you step out of line now, you are getting shipped straight to the grinder. You do not see the outside world until they officially declare you fixed. Basically, if talking does not work, physical reality checks become the only option. But weirdly enough, today these delinquents are lining up at the playground just to donate blood. The boomers think these kids are actually healing, but nah, they are just grinding for that donation certificate. Why? Because one ticket flips for 5,001 with our guy Lee Min-soo. The second that paper touches their hands, they sprint straight to Min-soo to cash out. This is our main character's current side hustle, buying a 5,001 gift card and the certificate bundle for 10 grand total. But plot twist, he only cares about the paper. Because on the low, those certificates are actually worth 12 grand each. Bro is literally just playing the middleman and keeping the extra profit. He knows exactly how illegal this is, but he does not care. For an underaged kid like him, the worst case is catching a warning. The actual threat, dodging the local street rats. Speak of the devil. Min-soo is casually counting his stacks when out of nowhere a boot crashes straight into his jaw. He and his cardboard stash go flying across the concrete. A squad of thugs rolls up, smirking and noting how thick his pockets are looking today. Min-soo glares up at them, cursing under his breath. His worst nightmare just spawned. These goons do not give a single care about the new laws, thinking the rehab camp is just a meme. Right then, the blonde leader blasts him with this foul yellow spray. Min-soo is left choking in the dirt. Towering over him, the blonde sneers, "Bro, did you forget to pay your taxes? Or are you acting this cocky just because Joe Chang-soo got locked up in rehab?" He spits right on Min-soo's bruised face. Shaking with pure rage, Min-soo snaps back that without Joe Chang-soo holding his leash, the blonde guy is nothing but a useless sidekick. But suddenly, Min-soo's pupils shrink in sheer panic. Joe Chang-soo is the undisputed raid boss of the local street gangs. Anyone who crossed him ended up surviving unimaginable horrors. Yet nobody ever snitched, terrified that the psycho would hunt them down. Min-soo is no exception. Just picturing that monster's face makes his blood run cold. Catching Min-soo's fear, the blonde cuts to the chase. If he does not want to end up on Chang-soo's hit list, he better hand over the cash right now. Hearing the threat, Min-soo frantically digs into his bag. Okay, no problem. But a split second later, he rips his hand out and flips them a massive middle finger. The blonde completely loses his mind, screaming, "You little piece of trash." Bam! A brutal knee strikes directly into Min-soo's gut, slamming him into the dirt as a storm of fists rains down on him. Just because Chang-soo is gone, you think you can disrespect us? You seriously think I'm some easy target? Still hungry for chaos, the blonde punk spots a literal dirt digger sitting nearby. Today he's dead set on teaching Lee Min-soo a brutal lesson. One of his goons nervously tells him to chill out. If this gets ugly, you're getting shipped straight to juvie. But Blondie just scoffs, flexing that juvie doesn't scare him one bit. In his twisted little mind, as long as he acts like a total boss, he can. Right now, his only goal is to beat Min-soo down until the dude literally wets his pants. But right as Blondie winds up for the strike, bam, he catches a massive kick straight to the spine. Enter the student council president Kang Wook-sung, coldly declaring that campus bullying is strictly off limits here. Dropping that reality check, he smoothly pulls Min-soo back to his feet. The surrounding goons instantly recognize who they're messing with. But at this point, the wrecked blonde guy is totally crashing out. He doesn't give a single rip anymore. He snatches up the shovel and full sprints at Wook-sung. "I'm sending both of you to the lobby today, then I'll just transfer schools." Wuxong effortlessly sidesteps the wild swing, deadpanning. Are you seriously trying to end my whole run? Minsu just scoops up his dusty backpack and lets out an exhausted sigh. He glances over and asks Wuxong, bro, didn't you literally just say campus throwdowns were banned? Hearing that the president turns around flashing a warm smile, you know you should really just use my actual name at times like this. Minsu keeps his head down, muttering that he's not his brother anymore. Stop getting involved. Hanging around me is just a one-way ticket to trouble. But Wuxong isn't having it. You're not a problem, you're family. No matter how much Minsu tries to push him away, they're brothers for life. Period. Minsu freezes for a second, then mutters, just toss that raggedy watch. You got adopted by a loaded family. You should really upgrade your drip. Honestly, it's giving me secondhand embarrassment. Wuxong just scratches his head, totally brushing off the roast. He genuinely doesn't care. Besides, that clunky thing on his wrist is basically hanging on by a thread anyway. Later, while walking home, Minsu just can't get Wuxong's reckless stunt out of his head. If today's messy drama tanks Wuxong's chances of getting into college, it would be an absolute disaster. The guy is literally the student council president and a top-tier med school prodigy. His real name, Lee Hyun-soo. He's Minsu's actual biological older brother who got adopted away years ago. Because of that massive gap in their lives, Minsu firmly believes his golden boy brother needs to cut all ties. Wuxong needs to walk his shiny path to success while Minsu grinds it out in the trenches just to survive. Speaking of surviving, his secret stash is literally hidden right inside a busted old clothing donation bin. That's where he hides his entire life savings, 3,400,000 won. He's still short 6,600,000 to hit his ultimate 10 million goal. So now he's scheming to crash other schools to snatch up blood donation vouchers since his own school's drive is still 3 whole months away. You're probably wondering why this kid is so insanely obsessed with hoarding cash. It all dials back to when he aged out of the orphanage 2 years ago. Sure, the government handed him 5 million won as a starter pack, but in this economy, that couldn't even rent him a dusty closet with a toilet. Plus, being an underage orphan with zero backup, scoring a legit job was practically impossible. So even though he totally knows he's pulling sketchy rule-breaking moves, it's his only cheat code to stack fast paper. Right as Minsu is stashing his cash, he catches a weird noise. That blonde bully just spawned right behind him. He violently grips Minsu's shoulder, whispering with a sick smirk. Want to hear a fun little secret, bro? If you get busted, all that dirty money gets instantly snatched up by the feds. He then bursts out laughing, totally shrieking right into Minsu's ear. Cornered, Minsu demands to know what he wants, and the blonde sneers. He promises to make Minsu wet himself every single time they cross paths. Meanwhile, cutting back to Wuxong's chaotic, noisy classroom, the homeroom teacher suddenly barges in, demanding total silence. He's got a massive announcement. The kid who got shipped to juvie is officially back. The teacher claims Chang-Soo has deeply reflected on his toxic behavior and begs the class to support him. Supposedly, they need to help him ease back into school life. Hearing this absolute joke, the whole room erupts in whispers. Some kids mockingly bet that if Chang-Soo hears this sappy speech, he's straight up gonna knock the teacher out. Others joke that juvie must be a total cakewalk if the guy got released in just 4 weeks. But the very next second, the whole class is literally speechless. The ruthless gang boss they all remember, the absolute menace who made their lives hell, is now slumped in a wheelchair with dead eyes, screaming like a toddler that he needs to pee right in the middle of class. A warm puddle pools under him. That's when it hits everyone: this new Reform Act isn't just a slap on the wrist anymore. It's the real deal. Meanwhile, over at the orphanage, cops are taping off a dark alleyway swarming with onlookers. Someone just got murdered. The driver tells Kang Wuxong they might miss the academy party because of some crazy holdup ahead. Wuxong realizes they're right outside his old orphanage. It's supposed to be a safe haven, but something catches his eye. He rips the car door open, pure panic setting in. That watch lying in the dirt, it belongs to his little brother, Lee Min-soo. A sickening feeling drops in his gut. He aggressively shoves his way through the massive crowd, but the scene waiting for him makes his blood run cold. Min-soo is getting dragged away in handcuffs by the cops, thanks to Article 243 of the Reform Act. He's being shipped straight to the rehab center for extreme behavioral management. Cut to juvenile court, where the judge is completely chewing Min-soo out, calling him a hopeless thug showing zero remorse. Don't forget you're standing here on straight-up murder charges. Min-soo just keeps his head down, desperately swearing he didn't kill anyone. But the judge doesn't give a damn. He just pulls out the murder weapon, a bloody brick plastered with Min-soo's fingerprints, while listing off his entire criminal record. The judge snarls that if everyone caught a body over some bullying, getting robbed, or just hating somebody's guts, the streets would literally be overflowing with corpses. He claims the real reason this kid keeps breaking the law is because he refuses to trust the grown-ups around him. He tells him to suck it up and learn to ask adults for help. And with that, under Article 28 of the Reform Act, the gavel slams with a reform detention order. Now he's stuck on a prison bus packed with wild juvenile delinquents heading to the center. The guards on board flash creepy smiles telling the rowdy kids to chill out. They're almost at the drop-off, but these cocky punks have absolutely zero survival instinct. Instead of stressing, they're whining about having to sleep in some rundown dump. But as the bus rolls deeper into the compound, they spot a group of girls with crazy good figures. The boys instantly lose their minds, hyping each other up. They literally start calling dibs on who they want. The guard quickly shuts that down, pointing out that's the girls' reform facility. Our block is on the other side, boys. Meanwhile, Min-soo is just quietly leaning against the cold glass, replaying the judge's garbage speech about trusting adults in his head. He told the absolute truth, and nobody gave him the time of day. How the hell is he supposed to trust them? The bus finally pulls up to the boys' rehab center. At first glance, these toxic newbies are still acting tough, mouthing off to the guards like they run the place. But the very next second their jaws hit the floor. A mob of heavily tattooed jacked inmates are sprinting in laps, literally bawling their eyes out. And while they run, they're barking and mooing like actual farm animals. The new kids immediately crack up, completely clueless to the nightmare they just walked into. Suddenly, a guard spots something in the distance. He barks out, "All units kill the drill." Instantly, these massive inmates, sporting brutal red welts all over their chests, snap to attention in flawless military formation, terrified to even breathe. The guard screams at the top of his lungs, "Show respect to the director, all personnel salute." In total sync, the entire mob throws their arms up, in unison. The director deadpans, squad members form up. Hearing this, Min-soo and the fresh meat awkwardly wonder if they should follow along. The director flashes a psychotic grin and orders, "Dog position." The second the words leave his mouth, the newbies bust out laughing, but that one command makes the veteran inmates violently smash their heads into the concrete. This brutal animalistic vibe completely grosses out the new kids. Like, doesn't this psycho know there are strict laws protecting juvenile rights? Right then the headmaster points dead at them and smirks. Looks like some roaches are still acting up. Then he barks piglets. Instantly twisted pig squeals echo from the thugs on the floor. "Give me 10 minutes, and I'll turn these pests into pure livestock." The second he drops that line, some new kid tries to clap back, but literally a split second later, boom, a fist absolutely obliterates his face. Lee Min-soo and the other newbies are completely paralyzed by the sight. These former bullies are actually squealing like pigs now. The guards creep up on them like starved wolves, and in a flash, they absolutely floor the rest of them. The headmaster eats this up. "I love this vibe," he says. "So from here on out, you guys are no longer pigs. Congrats, you just leveled up from pigs to servants. You get to speak like actual humans again." It takes a second, but then, these broken thugs finally spit out human words, yelling, "Understood." Meanwhile, Lee Min-soo pulls a massive IQ play, faking dead in the dirt. The rest are either getting hunted down by these feral guards, or desperately begging the staff to save them. But do not let those creepy glued-on smiles fool you for a second. These instructors absolutely despise these societal rejects with every fiber of their being. So catching hands is literally the only option here. They use this crazy, calculated crowd control, dodging vital organs to dish out pure non-lethal agony disguised as education. Min-soo is mentally recording all of this. I mean, nobody's trying to catch a murder charge, right? But out of absolutely nowhere, the headmaster teleports right into his face. "Pretty intense, huh, kid? You just got dropped here, you should be terrified yet. Look at you trying to outsmart me." Min-soo opens his mouth to apologize, but boom, a combat boot slams straight into his face. Save the apologies. I low-key love a sneaky little rat. So starting right now, you're my personal entertainment mouse. He flat out orders Min-soo to strictly squeak like a rodent. From this day forward, completely boxed in, Min-soo takes the L and squeaks. Right then, two guards pull up, confirming the trash has been sorted. They strip the new inmates buck naked and force them to drop to their knees in a lineup. And buckle up because their real nightmare evaluation is just kicking off. Cut to the outside world where Kang Wook-sung finally tracks down Cheong-soo's crib. He bangs on the door forever but gets absolute dead silence. So he whips out a pair of scissors fully ready to finesse the lock. Click. The door pops open like it's nothing. Dude has been a lockpicking god since he was a literal child. Back in the day, he and his bro, Lee Min-soo, used to hit up empty houses all the time. Min-soo played lookout while he casually bagged all the premium loot. Give them 5 minutes, and they'd scrub a house entirely clean of valuables. They ran this exact hustle for years, until the cops finally clipped them and dumped them in an orphanage. That officially killed their crime spree. Ever since that day, Kang Wook-sung swore off the street life. But today, he isn't here to steal. He's here to hunt down his brother. And Cheong-soo, currently sprawled out on the mattress, with his hands fully tied up, is the only guy holding the coordinates. Cheong-soo is just sobbing uncontrollably, whining that he wet the bed again. Staring at this completely broken kid, Kang Wook-sung is honestly disturbed. What kind of messed up rehab center actually does this to a person? Word on the street is, you took a bad fall and scrambled your brain. But bro, you don't have a single scratch on you. I'm betting there's a way darker reason you're acting like a literal zombie, right? But Cheong-soo isn't processing a single word, just throwing a tantrum about needing the bathroom. Kang Wook-sung loses his patience and absolutely smacks him. Look at me. You only survived 4 weeks in that hellhole, but I have zero clue when my brother is getting out. So start talking before things get ugly. Kang Wook-sung is practically sweating bullets now. If a hardcore bully like Cheong-soo got permanently cooked in just 4 weeks, Min-soo is in serious danger. He can't even stomach the thought of how wrecked his brother will be when he finally gets out. But Chang-soo is a total shell of a human now. He's completely zoned out, only registering pure agony, and just keeps mumbling that he messed up. Stop hitting me. Kang Wook-sung watches him, realizing the dude's brain is totally scrambled. Grilling him anymore is a total dead end. But right then, something catches his eye. There's a stark letter branded right on Chang-soo's chest. It's the exact same sick grade every juvie inmate gets slapped with the second they walk through those doors. The warden hands out these twisted ratings himself, grading them purely on how psycho their crimes were. The warden's cold eyes sweep over the fresh meat, yawning at the lineup of basic thugs. But suddenly, he locks onto a total outlier. Lee Min-soo. The warden jumps out of his chair, totally hyped, screaming, I knew my gut was right. Hats off to you, little mouse Lee Min-soo, you're way more savage than you look. Never saw it coming that you'd be the only A tier in this trash batch. Oh, training camp is gonna be an absolute blast for you. Hearing that psycho promise, Lee Min-soo's stomach drops. He knows he's completely doomed. Cut to Kang Wook-sung tracking down his next lead, pulling up to the gates of Yongji Girls High. A noisy squad of girls spills out of the campus, vibing and chatting until one of them spots absolute eye candy. She smacks her snacking bestie's arm, pointing straight at him. Wook-sung is just chilling on a bike, flipping through a book, looking so effortlessly flawless that the girls instantly drift over to shoot their shot. The one in a mask smirks, asking if he's a K-pop trainee. Wook-sung pops out an earbud, shutting that down fast. He flips the script, asking if he can pick their brains for a second. His casual half-smile has them totally melting. They eagerly joke that they'll spill anything he wants, and even drop their numbers. But the second Wook-sung drops the name Gu Se-min, the vibe instantly dies. The girls look creeped out, pointing into the crowd. Wait, you're looking for that psycho? Yeah, she just walked out right there, suddenly sensing Se-min's icy glare from afar. The girl yanks her hand down, totally dodging eye contact. Target locked. Wook-sung strides right over, blocking Se-min's path. She glares, snapping. What's your problem? He calmly states he needs some intel on the facility. The word facility acts like a trigger. Se-min shoves him hard, barking at him to back off. Wook-sung slightly bows his head. Look, my bad. Your brother got sent there, right? She ignores him, storming off. Wook-sung wonders if he came on way too strong, but suddenly a heavy motorcycle helmet gets tossed right at his chest. Se-min jerks her chin toward the bike. Get on. We're not talking about that hellhole out here. Not on the open street. Wook-sung asks why the sudden change of heart. Turns out Se-min's own brother is still trapped inside. And as for the facility, she sums it up in one brutal word. Hell. Meanwhile, back in that very nightmare, the fresh meat has been suffering through 3 agonizing hours of hardcore drills. They're pushed so far past their limits that their muscles are violently shaking. Everyone is just praying for this twisted torture to stop. But nope. The drill sergeant barks another insane order. Min-soo is forced to squeak like a rat while the rest of the crew has to squeal like pigs. But the guards absolutely lose it on them. You call that squealing? Sound like real pigs, you trash. So, forced by the screaming guards, the juvies start aggressively oinking while doing non-stop squats, in a duck walk position. Min-soo actually has it way easier. All he has to do is keep squeaking. Watching them act like literal livestock has the warden cracking up on his little balcony. He gets a sick kick out of treating kids like farm animals. Suddenly, one kid completely blacks out and hits the dirt. His reward getting stomped and kicked by the guard, who immediately roars, "We gotta drop, back to 0 pigs." The kid curls up, begging the guard, sobbing that his stomach feels like it's ripping apart, begging for a bathroom break. The drill sergeant sneers. Weren't you acting all tough when you got here? Now you're crying over this? Right then, the warden spots the drama and waves the sergeant off. He strolls up to the shaking delinquent with a creepy smile. You must have been holding that in forever, huh? Relax, stand up. I will let you hit the restroom. He then turns to the whole squad. Anyone else gotta go? Seeing the warden acting all nice and chill, the guys start chiming in one after another. In a flash, a massive line forms with everyone trying to ditch the drill. The sergeant barks out one last time. Last call, anyone else. If you don't speak up right now, you are out of luck. When nobody else steps up, he orders the remaining kids back to the brutal grind. Standing in the restroom line, Lee Min-soo's brain goes into overdrive. Are they seriously just gonna let us go? If the guys staying behind have to keep sweating it out, everyone's just gonna fake a stomachache and bail exactly like those clowns up front acting sick. This whole setup feels way too sus to Min-soo. After all, free kindness in a hellhole like this is like eating wild berries you found in the woods. The sweeter they look, the deadlier the poison. Trusting his gut, Min-soo throws his hand up, squeaking out random noises. The sergeant marches over, demanding his name and what his deal is. Min-soo keeps up the weird squeaking act until the guard snaps, telling him to use his big boy words. That's when he instantly drops the act. My stomach is totally fine now. Put me back in the drill. Before he even blinks, the sergeant snatches him by the throat, furious he is being messed with. You think this is a game? Get back in line, you punk. I have got my eyes on you. As Min-soo bails on the restroom squad, the other inmates snicker, calling him an idiot. But Min-soo already figured out the twisted logic of this place. They are treated like literal livestock, using a bathroom. That is human privilege. Animals don't get bathroom breaks. Moments later, the group of bathroom-bound inmates is rounded up. The warden raises a hand, grinning. Man or beast, everyone has got to do their business right. Holding it in is bad for you. Take a 30-minute breather. Hearing this, the kids in the line flash huge smug grins, thinking they totally gamed the system. But then the warden points right at their stupid faces. What's so funny? I wasn't talking to you. I meant the guys who stayed behind. They get to rest. As for you lot, it's time for the human centipede drill. Watching this play out, Min-soo is thanking his lucky stars. He trusted his gut and dodged that massive bullet. Centipedes. Nasty little creepy crawlies. They usually rock around 15 pairs of legs, sometimes going all the way up to 177. They're the absolute bottom of the food chain, lower than dirt. And now these inmates are forced into a brutal plank position, face shoved right into the next guy's backside. You little bugs said you needed to go, didn't you? So why isn't anybody dropping a load? Half an hour of pure torture drags by. The guards blast the inmates with freezing water, just to scrub off the foul stench filling the yard. Just 3 hours ago, these delinquents were acting like rabid wolves. Now, they're totally broken, looking like dead meat, waiting for the butcher. The bell finally rings, signaling the end of this nightmare drill. And it's time for chow and dorm assignments. Min-soo stares dead-eyed at his tray. It is straight up slop, like literal pig feed. Are humans actually supposed to swallow this garbage? No chairs, no spoons, just a mob of teenagers eating off the floor like mutts. But before they can even dig in, a guard barks at them to sing the gratitude anthem. Before Min-soo can even process what that means, the sergeant screams the command. Suddenly, all the inmates start belting out the lyrics, forcing massive, unhinged smiles on their faces. We are not human, we are pigs and dogs. We eat whatever slop is tossed our way. Those messed up lyrics are literally framed and hung dead center in the mess hall. It hits Min-soo like a freight train. They aren't just calling them animals to mess with their heads. This camp literally views them as livestock. He scoops up a handful of the mush with his bare hands and pig, dog, or human, it doesn't matter anymore. If he wants to survive this hell, all he can do is swallow his pride and endure. While biding their time to make a move, Min drags Kang Wook-sung up a steep ridge. From up here, they get a dead-on panoramic view of the entire juvenile hellhole. Wook-sung asks if she actually thinks that place is hell. Min scoffs. Hell is a literal vacation compared to that dump. It's a slaughterhouse, not a prison. The sick things that go down in there still haunt her nightmares every single night. Now she has to pop a fistful of sleeping pills just to shut her eyes. Catching his desperate vibe, she realizes he's actually terrified for his little brother. Wook-sung admits it was their mom's dying wish. He promised to shield him no matter what, but he completely dropped the ball. That's exactly why he tracked her down. The clock is ticking. Out of every single kid who managed to crawl out of that lockup, Min is the only one who doesn't look totally broken. Smirking, she asks if he wants the ultimate survival cheat code. Hooked, Wook-sung leans in. Wait, there's a way, how did you pull it off? But the very next second, Min pulls a totally unhinged, deranged face. I just acted completely out of my mind, Wook-sung scowls, thinking she's messing with him, and snaps at her to drop the act and stop joking around. But without saying a single word, Min slowly pulls back her hair. Her scalp is completely wrecked. covered in brutal bubbling burn scars. Wook Sung's eyes blow wide open. In pure shock, that place is a dumping ground for the country's most twisted young psychos. One tiny disagreement sparked a fight, and the next thing she knew, some lunatic shoved her head straight into a boiling vat of deep-frying oil. Acting completely brain-damaged was the only way she scored an early release. Hearing the raw trauma, Wook Sung drops his head muttering a heavy apology, but Se-min fiercely cuts him off. "Don't pity me, or I swear I'll kill you." Then her tone flips. "You wanted to know the system right, the second you step foot in the yard. They sort the scum based strictly on their rap sheet. Your crime dictates your cell block tier. Check this out. Grade E, just your basic street brawlers. Grade D, that's strictly the trap house. Heavy drug charges. Grade C holds the sticky-fingered thieves and scammers. And just for context, her cell was Grade B built for aggravated assault. But based on what you told me, your brother Min-soo is 100% locked in Grade A. That tier is the absolute belly of the beast. It's a blood-soaked cage reserved for underage killers. Cut to Min-soo. The second the heavy door clangs shut behind him, a bunch of lethal stares lock onto fresh meat. He instantly reads the room. "Show fear here and you're dead." Suddenly a thug steps up. "Hey, new kid. Didn't your mama teach you to introduce yourself?" Cracking his knuckles, the guy demands to know Min-soo's stomping grounds and what he's locked up for. Unfazed, Min-soo deadpans that he's an orphanage kid from Jungil High. The words barely leave his mouth before the cell block vets burst out laughing. "Oh great, another little prep school orphan." One guy smirks, bragging that he actually knows a dude from Jungil High. He name-drops a senior named Jo Chang-soo. But out of nowhere, a booming voice orders them to shut the hell up. The laughter dies instantly. The hardcore vets start sweating bullets. A dude rocking long hair stares Min-soo down. "Why are you in here? Because if they threw you in this specific cage, you must have pulled some seriously dark stuff. The hierarchy is crystal clear. This long-haired guy is the absolute top dog of the cell." Without skipping a beat, Min-soo drops the bomb. Murder. The second that word hits the air, everyone except the boss completely freezes. Pure shock washes over their faces and a cold sweat breaks out as they panic internally. He's got to be bluffing, right? Seeing them glitch out makes Min-soo click the puzzle pieces together. Wait. Is he the only actual killer in the room, he assumed? They grouped identical crimes together. But the vibe shift proves taking a life is the ultimate flex in this place. And the absolute brutality of your crime is exactly what dictates the power dynamics in this hellhole. Right then, one of the prison vets shoots a smirk at the long-haired dude. "Looks like our little lapdog's stuck playing the rookie." Lee Min-soo is tripping out. Wait, is the long-haired guy not the cell boss but the actual bottom of the food chain? But a split second later, he realizes he completely misread the room. The vet wasn't talking about the long-haired dude. He meant the white-haired kid currently acting as a literal human chair, getting squashed under the long-haired guy's weight. He's the actual bottom feeder of this twisted hierarchy. The long-haired guy suddenly springs up whining, "Man, sitting like that kills my back." The second the white-haired kid opens his mouth to apologize, a senior inmate brutally smacks him down. "Who gave you permission to speak like a human?" the senior barks. Completely broken, the white-haired kid shrinks back, letting out pathetic, high-pitched squeaks like a terrified mouse. This toxic dynamic gives Min-soo intense déjà vu. It's an instant replay of his own bullied past. The weak get totally crushed, whether on the streets or behind bars. Right then and there, Min-soo makes a hard vow. If these punks think they can treat him like their personal NPC, he'd rather fully embrace his murderer label. Cut to 7 p.m. mandatory reflection time. The juvenile delinquents in this hellhole are forced to crank out 10 apology essays daily, but Min-soo is drawing a total blank. I mean, he didn't even actually kill that blonde bully he knocked out. Suddenly, a crumpled paper ball smacks onto Min-soo's desk. Two cell vets are literally playing baseball with their apology sheets. Min-soo shoots them a confused look. "Aren't you guys gonna write your essays?" One of the seniors scoffs. "Why even stress it? Our little pet dog is gonna ghostwrite all of them anyway." He waves Min-soo off, telling him to drop his pen. "Don't bother sweating over it, just dump it on the mutt." Right on cue, the white-haired kid grabs his crotch and lets out two desperate barks. He literally waits for the senior's green light before begging to hit the restroom. Surprisingly, the two bullies don't block him. They actually let it slide. But the exact second, the white-haired kid unzips a senior, viciously kicks his legs out from under him. "You're a dog now, not a human," the bully sneers. "Lift your leg and pee like a stray." With the two sadists hovering over him, the completely humiliated kid has no choice but to obey. Fast forward to 8 p.m. Shower time. It's an insane 3-minute speedrun with nothing but freezing water and a basic bar of soap. But the most disgusting part that completely grosses Minsu out, 50 sweaty inmates are forced to share one single tiny bar of soap. Gross. 9 p.m. rolls around. Time for the guard's night inspection and roll call. The cellmates, including Minsu, count off from 1 to 5, but when it hits the white-haired kid's turn, he literally barks. It's a massive lose-lose situation. If he breaks, his cellmates will destroy him later, but by barking, the guards immediately brutalize him for acting out, no matter what button he presses. He's getting jumped. Honestly, taking a quick beating from the guards beats surviving hours of agonizing torture from his cellmates after lights out. 10 p.m. lights cut to black, ending this nightmare of a day, laying in the dark. Minsu's mind is racing, completely swamped with heavy emotions. Across the cell, a senior hisses. "Shut up, dogs don't cry like humans." The white-haired kid violently claps his hands over his mouth, suppressing his sobs. By forcing out those pathetic squeaky mouse noises, flash forward to 5:30 a.m. mandatory deep clean and inspection, hitting exactly 6 o'clock on the dot post-roll call. The guards roll in, serving breakfast straight to the cell. Minsu is low-key confused. "Yo, why aren't we hitting the cafeteria?" The bald-shot caller smirks. "Guards got us locked in cause of outdoor drills later this afternoon. So today, room service it is." The guards even hook them up with actual spoons this time. Minsu presses on. "Wait, where'd the pet dog go while we eat?" At that, the entire squad of seniors slowly shifts their gaze, straight under the table. That's when a sick realization hits Minsu like a truck. This random table they're eating on, it's literally the white-haired kid on all fours acting as human furniture. Minsu frowns. Hey, if he's putting in work, shouldn't he at least get some grub? The bald senior laughs him off. "Chill out, newbie. We take care of our boy Bobby. We're his homies." A tattooed brute chimes in facts. Where else is he gonna find bros who spoon-feed him? They instantly scrape all their nasty chewed-up leftovers into a disgusting pile. A premium bowl of human kibble crafted by his besties. Bobby's very own gourmet trash meal. White hair is absolutely sick to his stomach, but he's got zero choice but to scarf down scraps like a stray mutt, totally terrified of the payback. But right then, Minsu flips the whole damn table and screams. "Do not eat that trash," Minsu snaps at him. "Bro, are you seriously letting them treat you like a literal lapdog, Moon Hyunjun?" But Whitehair's eyes are totally dead. Zero hope. Just pure panic. He warns Minsu that this hellhole runs on a strict food chain. You're the fresh meat, so you gotta play by their sick rules. But plot twist, you gotta physically wreck Whitehair Bobby first just to earn your spot. Because once the fight is on, Whitehair actually outranks Minsu. Minsu scoffs, swearing this whole alpha male ranking game is incredibly cringe. But he totally misses the vibe shift. Whitehair Moon Hyunjun is glaring at him like a starving predator. The second Minsu tells him to chill, bam, Whitehair's fist is already smashing into his jaw. The kid knows this is his one ticket out of the gutter. "This is your shot to ditch the rookie label," he taunts Minsu, spitting out. "Why aren't you fighting back, bro? You want to be their new little punching bag." Minsu knows full well that taking an L here drops him to the absolute bottom. But Whitehair is literally sobbing while throwing punches, which totally throws Minsu off. For real, the director mentions he's enlisting tomorrow. Did he pack his stuff? Wook Sung, clutching a penguin plushie, confirms everything is set. "These things are straight up core memories for me and Minsu." The director sighs. "You two brothers were the absolute biggest menaces in the whole orphanage." Wook Sung tries to play it cool, saying it's a huge misunderstanding. "Sure, I threw hands with the other kids a lot, but they were never actually scared of me." Minsu is the real psycho you gotta watch out for. Once he snaps, he goes goblin mode and nobody can stop him. Cut back to the fight. Whitehair is bawling his eyes out. "I am so freaking sorry." He only has one thing locked in his brain. He refuses to go back to being their pet Bobby. Minsu is just tanking the hits, shielding his head with both arms. That creepy bald dude, the one who was shaking in his boots when he heard Minsu caught a body, now he's showing his true colors. He is absolutely dead set that Minsu is the new Bobby. And just watching him get jumped isn't enough. So he starts yapping. "This is exactly why your parents dumped you, you absolute loser." But the second those words leave his mouth, wham! A brutally heavy fist connects right with his skull. It is like a glitch in the Matrix triggered a cheat code. Minsu's whole aura shifts. One single punch and the bald guy is completely knocked out cold. The entire room goes dead silent. Everyone is shook to the core, especially Whitehair Moon Hyunjun, who is literally frozen in shock. Just like Wook Sung warned, Minsu is the final boss you do not mess with. And when the rage takes over, Minsu has exactly one goal. Turn every single bully in this room into a Bobby. I freaking warned you all. You are all gonna be the new lapdogs. But out of nowhere, an older inmate cheap shots him in the back. 3 seniors just formed a raid party against him. Turn us into pets. You are actually delusional, bro. Stop acting so tough. This is the main hall, kid. Every wannabe tough guy is locked in here. We went easy on you. Just because you are some dumped orphan. But before the guy can even finish his villain speech, a filthy toilet plunger gets jammed straight into his mouth. Hearing that trigger word again pushes Minsu totally over the edge. He roars, "Shut the hell up," then he absolutely obliterates the senior's face, snapping the heavy plunger clean in half from the impact. Seeing their boy get wrecked, the other two seniors cannot just stand by. They rush him, and one of them starts barking threats. But literally 1 second later, Minsu has them paralyzed with fear. He's gripping the shattered plunger stick like a deadly shank, rocking absolute crazy eyes aiming it right at their throats. Try and unalive me. Have you cowards ever actually taken a life? Meanwhile, out on a fancy golf course, Assemblyman Kang is swinging his golf club while his yes-men instantly start clapping, desperate to glaze the boss. Wuksung is literally kneeling on the grass nearby. The assemblyman asks him how he pulled this favor off. Wuksung explains that even though it is early, he is fully ready to enlist, claiming his main priority is cracking down on youth crime, because cleaning the streets will be a huge flex for your political campaign. Hearing that massive cap, Assemblyman Kang bursts out laughing. The kid who supposedly cares about my career just fumbled his med school acceptance. Cut the BS, Wuksung. You're only doing this because of that little brother of yours locked up in juvie. But newsflash, even if you sign up for the force today, there is zero guarantee they are going to assign you to that specific youth prison. Hearing the harsh truth, Wuksung looks up. That is exactly why I am on my knees begging for your pull. If anyone has the connections to make it happen, it is you, Dad. But the corrupt politician just scoffs. Why the hell should I clean up your fake brother's mess? Just as Wuksung thinks his old man is going to leave him hanging, the assemblyman switches up his tone. Only if you stay in line and prove your worth from now on. And hey, help me lock down the presidency while you're at it. Come on, help your old man rule the country. Right then, Minsu completely snaps. Looking like a starved wolf, he snarls at the seniors. You Bobby wannabes ready to catch these hands? But a split second later, the upperclassman he just floored bounces right back up and grabs him by the collar. The bald dude wastes zero time and absolutely decks Minsu in the skull. One heavy crack and Minsu goes dead silent. Panic sets in. The bald guy thinks he just caught a body, and instantly the two attackers start playing the blame game. But guess what? Minsu was totally faking it. Out of nowhere, he explodes, slamming a brutal headbutt right into the jaw of the guy holding him hostage. Then he delivers a ruthless kick straight to the bald dude's junk. Just like that, Minsu completely flips the script. That's when Gu Seun steps up to the plate. Your ultimate trigger word has got to be mom. Or wait, does the word abandon? Such a tragedy. Does your dear mommy even know the kid she threw away grew up to take someone's life? The second those words drop, Minsu lunges, thrusting a jagged broomstick right at him. But Seun-hee effortlessly catches it single-handed. Minsu viciously snarls. Take it back right now unless you want to be permanently blind. Seun just smirks. Why exactly should I apologize? Because your mom dumped you or because of your little kill streak? Alright, wrap it up. Let's kill the drama here. Letting go of the weapon, Seun suddenly screams out, I swear it wasn't me. He totally started it, then he whips around instantly, dropping into a surrender pose with his hands glued to his head. Minsu is standing there looking insanely confused. But the moment he spots three massive guards wielding heavy batons charging straight at him. You little punk, causing absolute chaos the second you clock in. The rest of the cell block has already assumed the position, pressed tight against the wall. And for Minsu, he is about to eat a brutal beatdown from those batons. Playing the victim, Seun reports Officer Lee Minsu went psycho and attacked us with a weapon. He even injured a guy. I will draft up the whole incident report and slide it your way. The head guard glares, and none of you laid a finger on him. He is the one who triggered this whole mess. The entire crew loudly agrees. Facts. Honestly, even the white-haired lapdog of the group vigorously nods along. Completely trashed, Minsu gets dragged toward the exit by the guard like a lifeless ragdoll. His prize, 15 agonizing days in solitary confinement. They call this hellhole the Dark Room, designed strictly to break major troublemakers. And the worst part, any time spent rotting in here literally does not count toward your overall sentence, meaning Minsu just blindly extended his own lockup. Not only is he hawked by cameras 24/7, but he is forced to stay kneeling on the cold floor until he passes out. Even more savage, his wrists and ankles are totally chained up. Bro has to faceplant into his meals like a stray animal. They only unlock those heavy chains when nature calls. But here is the absolute kicker, zero toilet paper. He literally has to wash up using a sketchy faucet attached to the wall. Right after 0700 hours, it is mandatory. Yep, even locked in solitary, he is forced to write apology essays. This round, Minsu furiously scribbles down double his usual amount. But every single word is just him psychoanalyzing the toxic traits of the upperclassmen. In his mind, this entire block is totally messed up. But the final boss of this nightmare, that long-haired freak Gu Si-yoon, he swears on everything. He is going to utterly destroy that jerk. Eventually, Minsu's exhausted brain shuts down. He flashes back to a haunting childhood memory, just him and Wook-sung, standing frozen outside a blazing house. He violently snaps awake, hot tears absolutely streaming down his face. Frustrated, Minsu bashes his own forehead against the concrete, cursing under his breath. Damn it, being trapped in this cage is definitely triggering his darkest trauma. Now he is straight up terrified to close his eyes, paranoid the fiery nightmare will loop. Finally, those 15 grueling days wrap up. Minsu marches right back into his assigned cell. He locks onto the older inmates, his eyes burning with pure, unhinged rage. But total plot twist, the bullies are actually flashing friendly smiles. Hey man, our bad. We definitely crossed the line last time. They even promised to quit their whole toxic power trip stuff. Seeing them act all buddy-buddy, Minsu genuinely thinks they have turned a new leaf. But the literal second he drops his guard to accept the apology, boom, a brutal kick sends him flying. Seo-hyun, the ringleader who threw the punch, flashes a wicked smirk. Looking for me, mama's boy. Two massive goons instantly pin Minsu down, locking his limbs in place. They shove a crusty, foul-smelling sock straight into his mouth, so he can't scream for the guards. Step by dragging step, they haul him toward the latrines. Seo-hyun chuckles. Oh, I'm touched you missed me this much, but sadly for you, someone else is dying to get their hands on you. On cue, the bald giant starts stripping down, zeroing in on Minsu with a sick grin. Right as Minsu braces for the absolute worst, a sharp command cuts through the air. Back off. The booming voice freezes the bald creep dead in his tracks. Seo-hyun glares at the approaching uniform. You look like the new meat. Do yourself a solid and look the other way. We got the green light from the top to do this. I don't give a damn about anyone's permission. We'll deal with your punishment later. The guard slowly steps up, offering a hand to Minsu. Blinking through the haze, Minsu looks up, and his blood runs cold the second he registers the face. It's Kang Wook-sung disguised in a guard's uniform. His outstretched hand holds a master plan if Minsu just plays along. He'll be a free man in no time. But Minsu totally ignores him, pivoting to smash a brutal right hook straight into the bald goon's jaw. What exactly were you planning to do with your pants down, freak? But Minsu knows the bald guy is just a pawn. The real snake is the cell boss Gu Seo-hyun standing right in front of him. Zero hesitation. Minsu drops into a fighting stance, locking eyes with Seo-hyun. Meanwhile, the other three inmates instantly box Wook-sung in. One scoffs, sizing him up. You look way too fresh-faced to be wearing that badge. But round here, our block, our rules. Wook-sung doesn't flinch. You mean street rules? Guess I gotta play along. Just don't go crying to the warden and flexing your guard badge later. Cut back to Minsu. He's throwing absolute haymakers. But Seo-hyun dodges every single one like it's nothing, openly laughing in his face. Seo-hyun casually glances over his shoulder, only to see Wook-sung has already floored all three goons. While Seo-hyun is totally shook by the carnage, Minsu seizes the opening. Wham! A clean hit to the face. Seo-hyun's eyes darken, thick veins popping on his forehead. He figured Minsu would have backed down by now. You know why they call that guy Bobby? Minsu springs back up, roaring. Who the hell is Bobby? I don't give a damn. Bobby used to run this block. Just like you, he forgot his place and started acting cocky. In this cell, you're absolute bottom tier. Before Minsu can blink, a devastating strike crushes him. The impact violently drains every ounce of his stamina. His vision blurs into static. Damn it. He thinks fighting the blackout. This psycho actually folded me. But what really stings, every single time he hits rock bottom, Wook-sung is always right there to see it. Wook-sung crouches down. You good? Still breathing. But Minsu's eyes roll back as he completely passes out. Wook-sung just shakes his head with a heavy sigh. Watching them leave, Seo-hyun barks. Where do you think you're taking him? That punk still needs to learn respect. He trashed the cell hierarchy and needs to pay. Wook-sung just shoots back coldly. You did good back there, but keep your hands to yourself. That's a direct message from your sister. The words instantly paralyze Seo-hyun. Cut to Minsu, slowly blinking awake inside a cramped solitary cell. Pissed off, he vows to shave Seo-hyun bald the next time they cross paths. Suddenly, a sharp cramp hits his gut, sending him rushing to the toilet bowl. After handling his business, he jiggles the sink handle. Nothing. Bone dry. Great zero way to wash his hands. But wait, there's a fresh roll of toilet paper sitting right there. Something feels super off. Solitary confinement never gives you toilet paper. And his wrists and ankles aren't even shackled. That's when a massive realization smacks him right in the face. The memories flood back. He lunges at the heavy iron door, pounding on it like a madman while screaming at the guard outside. How the hell did you even get in here? Are you totally insane? You're supposed to be in med school, man. You've got a rich stepdad now. Just go live your best life. Why are you playing hero for me? Get the hell out of here. Right now. Stop worrying about a scumbag murderer. Why would you throw your entire future away for a killer? Wuksung's voice drifts back, totally unfazed. I don't care if the whole world calls you a murderer. I know for a fact you didn't kill anyone, Minsu. Because you're my brother. Then Wuksung lays out the master escape plan. If Minsu just sticks to the script, he'll be breathing free air in no time. Just don't go getting thrown back into solitary like a total idiot. Leaning against the cold metal, Minsu smirks. Yeah, that's a plan he can vibe with. But he's got one demand: he wants another crack at that long-haired piece of trash. Wuksung just stares at him. You already know you're gonna get wrecked. So why fight him again? Minsu spits out that the guy insulted his mom. The exact moment those words drop, Wuksung goes dead silent. Then he drops the hammer. I can let a lot of things slide, but nobody disrespects a mother. For this fight, I'll teach you exactly how to crush him. But if you lose again to the punk who trashed your mom, I'll end you myself. Fast forward to the end of his 15-day stint in solitary. Minsu steps right up to the room's alpha and volunteers to be the next Bobby, literally dropping to all fours like an obedient dog. This is step 1 of the master plan they cooked up during those 15 days in the hole. Swallow his pride. Play the ultimate submissive pet and wait for the perfect opening to strike back. Just like that, Minsu officially becomes the cell's second Bobby. The big shots literally use his hunched back as a human table to play board games, but after an agonizing hour, Minsu hits his absolute limit. He snaps, shooting up with a furious roar that totally blindsides 2 of the bosses. They glare daggers at him. Oh, having second thoughts. About playing the dog, huh? Need us to beat the pecking order back into your skull, hearing that the veins in Minsu's neck practically burst. He is itching to absolutely deck the guy smirking right in front of him, but he swore to Wuksung he'd bite his tongue and survive for 5 days. After 5 days, even if the wardens swoop in, Wuksung promised to handle the fallout and set the ultimate stage for Minsu's revenge. Right now, he just has to eat the dirt, gritting his teeth. Minsu flips over, offering his own bare stomach as their new game board, and tells them to start round 2. By day 2, he's mastered scrubbing the floors, crawling around like a literal spider. On day 3, he and the white-haired Bobby become the personal punching bags for the boss's sick mind games. Rolling into day 4, he's not just lifting his leg to pee like a trained mutt. He's actually swallowing the repulsive special meals whipped up by the alphas, forcing a fake smile and calling it delicious. Minsu knows that if he can just survive today, this nightmare is finally over. But that vile slop-like mixture still makes him violently hurl his guts out in the bathroom. The white-haired Bobby gently chimes in. Hey, if you throw it all up, you're gonna lose all your strength. He flashes a warm, sad smile and slips Minsu a piece of candy, whispering not to breathe a word or they'll both get pulverized. Let's just keep our heads down and play the good Bobbies. Don't think about anything else. For a split second, Minsu is totally frozen by this random act of kindness. Luckily, his agonizing shift as the cell's pet ends today. But of course, total disaster always strikes at the absolute worst times. During yard time, the heavy hitters are playing a twisted game of fetch, using Minsu and the white-haired kid as their personal retrievers. But while sprinting blindly for the frisbee, the white-haired Bobby accidentally crashes straight into the kitchen crew. The guys he bumped into glare at him like they want blood. What the hell is your problem? You begging for a death wish? The poor kid shakes like a leaf and stammers, do you want to play catch with us? Meanwhile, Si-yoon is just chilling on the grass, racking his brain over how Wuksung actually knows his sister. But suddenly, a brutal shout shatters his focus. 3 massive guys from the kitchen gang bark at him. Is this pathetic mutt yours, you moron? You can't even keep your own stray on a leash. That was no accident. You trying to spark a turf war with the kitchen squad, seeing one of their own guys getting pushed around. Si-yoon's cell bosses instantly roll up their sleeves, demanding a heavy apology. You want a war? Bring it on, we aren't backing down. But then Si-yoon coolly waves it off. Drop it. Let's not blow this out of proportion. We handle this like adults, no need to turn this into a bloodbath. Hearing that the kitchen crew's alpha just bursts into a mocking laugh and brutally kicks the white-haired Bobby right in the skull. Man, your rationality really pisses me off. Seeing the kid drop hard, Si-yoon's cell bosses immediately look away, pretending they saw absolutely nothing. To them, risking an all-out gang war with the kitchen squad over a disposable pet just isn't worth the hassle. Minsu stares in pure disbelief. Do the guards seriously not give a damn about this? The bosses scoff. The wardens couldn't care less about a little roughhousing. They always leave us to clean up our own messes. Hearing that bitter truth, Minsu's face goes pitch black as he completely freezes. His heart is torn. On one side, there's that sweet piece of candy the white-haired kid Bobby handed him earlier. On the flip side, he's got his ironclad promise to Wook Sung about their master plan. At first, he actually tries to coldly walk away. But then the kitchen boss smacks Bobby around, totally mocking him. Your little pet is perfect for this. Mind if I borrow him for a few days? The words barely leave his mouth before a frisbee absolutely slams into his face. Bam! The kitchen boss drops like a rock, completely knocked out cold. The top dogs whip around in total shock. Standing right there is Minsu. He chose kindness over the plan. You punks already caused enough trouble on the outside. Are you seriously still acting up in here? In this place, you're nothing but livestock. Cattle with zero pride or dignity. That's exactly why you target the weakest guy. Minsu bends down to help Bobby up, but Si-yoon suddenly steps right into his personal space. I told you not to butt in. Are you deaf to human words? At that exact moment, the red-haired kitchen boss marches over and fiercely grabs Si-yoon by the shoulder. What's your deal, man? Should I go tell our boss that you're officially declaring war on us? Go ahead, declare war. But before all that, I need to clean up my own backyard. Hearing that a massive brawl is brewing, all the juvenile delinquents instantly swarm around to catch the drama. Minsu knows he already wrecked the first promise, but he is fully committed to keeping the second one. Si-yoon ties his hair back, smirking at Minsu. You really craving another beatdown? Minsu doesn't flinch. How about we make a bet? The winner takes over as the big boss of this room. Meanwhile, back in the classroom, Wook Sung has everything perfectly set up. Since these juvie kids are all under 18, they are forced to take basic classes at set times every week. Basically, whatever goes down during these lessons is totally up to the guard on duty. Wook Sung actually snagged the sweet gig of hall monitor, and today is the day Minsu is supposed to crush Si-yoon and claim the top spot. Wook Sung checks his watch, totally confused. It's go time, so why are the main characters ghosting him? Suddenly, a massive uproar out in the hallway grabs his attention. He squints through the window and realizes the showdown has already kicked off. Seeing this mess, Wook Sung lets out a massive, helpless sigh. He hops right onto the windowsill and screams, Minsu, you absolute idiot, for 15 straight days in solitary confinement. Wook Sung drilled the exact same combat combo into Minsu's brain. Step 1, a heavy hook. Step 2, a brutal liver shot. Step 3, a nasty uppercut. Step 4, a mid-level strike followed by a front kick and a spinning roundhouse. Then wrap it all up with a leg sweep and a straight jab. But Wook Sung knows deep down that alone won't be enough to take down Si-yoon. Sure, Si-yoon has insane raw power without ever training, making his moves super flashy, but they seriously lack any real substance. As Wook Sung rushes over a giant human wall made of screaming delinquents, completely blocks his view of the chaos. The strategic plans are out the window now. He has to use his monitor status to shut this brawl down. But out of nowhere, a random piece of popcorn bounces off his head. The duty guard glares at him. What exactly do you think you're doing? Realizing it's the head guard, Wook Sung immediately snaps into a stiff bow. I am the new monitor, Kang Wook Sung. Those punks are throwing hands. So I was just heading over to break it up. The guard scoffs at him. Why the hell would you stop them? Have you never watched Kingdom of Beasts? You know those wild nature documentaries. Let's say a hungry snake is hunting down a little mouse. What does the camera crew do? Absolutely nothing, because a snake devouring a mouse is just the raw natural order of things. Listen up, kid. We have absolutely no business interfering in their street fight. Let's respect the food chain. Besides, isn't it way more entertaining to watch these rats tear each other apart, seeing the guard act like a total psycho? Wook Sung realizes he is completely trapped and has to follow orders. Back in the ring, Minsu desperately spams the combo, moves Wook Sung, drilled into him. But he's totally swinging at ghosts, just like Wook Sung warned him without backing his opponent into a wall. That combo is practically useless. The massive power gap leaves Minsu incredibly vulnerable, forcing him to rely solely on this one pattern to stay in the game. Si-yoon instantly finds a blind spot and delivers a crushing blow. Minsu goes flying straight into the roaring crowd surrounded by endless trash talk. Wook Sung buries his face in his hands, practically praying for his bro to just tap out, sprawled out on the floor among the mob. Minsu feels an agonizing spike of pain shooting through his knee. He knows deep down if he keeps fighting like this, he's doomed to take another brutal loss just like last time. Minsu is battered, bleeding, and straight up considering throwing in the towel but suddenly a hand shoves him back into the ring. Someone in the crowd barks, "You absolute moron. Why are you just standing there lagging? Get back up and throw down. If you tap out now, you're gonna pay for it." Se-hyun chills with his hands in his pockets, smirking. What's this little kid doing? Looking for your mommy. Hearing that Minsu actually cracks a smile, a wild strategy just clicked in his brain. Se-hyun squints. What's so funny? Minsu wipes his face. Nothing. I just figured out exactly how I'm gonna clap you. The tension skyrockets as they square up. The whole crowd starts hyping them up. Sehun straight up yawns. Playtime's over, bro. Minsu cracks his neck. Yeah, let's wrap this up. But first he needs to bait him. Wooksung warned him earlier that with Minsu's current stats, there's zero chance he overpowers Sehun, and the only play here triggers Sehun so hard he attacks blindly. Minsu flashes a toxic grin and yells, "Yo, what do you think about Gu Sumin's looks, huh?" Before the words even settle, Sehun completely loses his mind. He lunges and throws a massive punch, driving Minsu right into the mob of spectators. The bait worked flawlessly. Right before impact, Minsu parries the strike, without missing a beat. He grabs a fistful of Sehun's hair, yanks him down hard, and pivots his entire body. The tables just completely turned. Guess your sister really is a sensitive topic. At first, Sehun thinks Minsu just got a lucky hit, but when he tries to backstep, he hits a wall of human bodies. The crowd is boxing him in. He's trapped eating haymaker after haymaker. Every time he tries to wind up a counter, he bumps into the guys behind him. Panic sets in. He just walked face first into a masterclass trap. Dodging impossible. Countering blocked by the NPCs behind him. And if he tries to push his way out, Minsu is just gonna piece him up. Bro is officially a sitting duck. All he can do is shell up and pray. But right when Sehun peeks through his guard looking for an opening, bam! Minsu shatters his stance with a brutal sidekick to the knee. Even as Sehun starts stumbling, Minsu knows he can't stop the barrage. 1 second of breathing room and he's dead, as Sehun's vision starts blurring. Sehun knows he's at 1 HP. If he misses his next swing, it's game over. But right now, his punches look like he's fighting underwater, weak and sloppy. The chance for a clutch comeback is totally gone. I told you to keep my mom's name out of your mouth. Just thinking about it makes my blood boil. Seeing Minsu pull off this crazy upset, the room absolutely erupts. Meanwhile, Minsu is practically seeing red screaming questions with every single punch, until he suddenly stops. Sehun is already out cold. Sehun crashes to the floor. The entire room goes dead silent. The tyrant has fallen, meaning Minsu is the undisputed new boss of the cell. Panting heavily, Minsu is still furious. He can't wrap his head around it, even while getting folded. Why didn't that arrogant jerk just apologize for insulting his mom? Suddenly, the sea of delinquents parts. The head guard is here. He rolls up on Minsu with a whole squad of officers behind. I really thought you were going to get totally wiped. Didn't expect you to actually pull it off. Nature is pretty wild, isn't it? The little field mouse actually took down the snake. Minsu glares, trying to decode his weird metaphor when the guard suddenly leans in close to his ear. A rat is always going to be a rat. Even in a fistfight, you just rely on dirty little tricks. Hearing that straight disrespect, Minsu just grits his teeth, too drained to talk back. Right then, Wooksung hauls Sehun's limp body off the floor and asks the guard what to do with the trash. The guard waves him off. Chuck him in solitary or whatever, getting the green light. Wooksung drags him out without a second thought. As he walks past Minsu, he sighs. This kid is such a stubborn headache. Wonder who he gets it from. Minsu smirks, exhausted but hyped. Probably gets it from his older brother. Even though the setup was messy, he somehow survived without getting seriously wrecked. And now, it's time to trigger phase 2 of the master plan. Fast forward 1 day later in an art studio, Gu Sumin crosses her arms. So, my brother actually got tossed in solitary. Wooksung rubs his neck awkwardly. Look, I'm super sorry things went completely off the rails. That definitely wasn't part of the script. But Simin orders him to freeze, totally locking Wooksung into this agonizing pose as her live painting model. Groaning, he begs to know how much longer he has to hold this back-breaking stance. Done, she hypes herself up. Watch this absolute masterpiece get me a full ride to art school. Wooksung peeks at the canvas, and his face instantly morphs into pure rage. Bro, what even is this trash? She basically just roasted him on canvas. After some hilarious bickering, Seaman gets serious warning Wooksung that his brother Minsu is swimming in deep water. Why, he totally pissed off the kitchen squad. Back in the day, she ran with the girls' kitchen crew, so she knows exactly how the boys' side operates inside this crazy facility. And let me tell you, those cafeteria boys, they operate like a literal mafia. You mess with one, the whole squad hunts you down to make your life a living nightmare. Above all, Minsu needs to watch his back around their massive boss Jang Dobo. Speak of the devil. Minsu walks right into him while grabbing grub. Jang violently dumps a mountain of side dishes onto his tray, smirking, "Eat up, kid." Toxic juice floods the whole tray, ruining his meal. Totally pissed, Minsu snaps. Dude, what is your problem? Jang just sneers. Payback, idiot. That's what you get for crossing my kitchen. Without missing a beat, Minsu acting completely clueless. Wait, You mean me? Tripped up by the epic gaslighting Jang blinks. Uh, you are Lee Minsu, right? Minsu nods with a totally straight face. Yeah, but honestly, there are like a million Lee Minsus out there. You probably got the wrong guy. Suddenly doubting his entire existence. The big boss awkwardly turns around and waddles away. Cut to the big leagues. Three top-tier politicians are having a tense sit-down with President Han Mansu. Supposedly, they are here to play nice. Han strolls up to Counselor Kang grinning. Been a minute, hasn't it? Funny running into my old campaign rival, he mocks. And then, he literally slaps Counselor Kang right on the butt. Paparazzi flashbulbs explode, immortalizing this ultimate disrespect. The dude just got spanked on national television. Kang's blood is absolutely boiling. Fast forward to after the summit. Kang is violently obliterating a punching bag, with Han's stupid face taped right to it. So what's the game plan, Kang asks. Smirking Wuxung drops a bombshell, ruining the president. Is actually going to be a total cakewalk. They just need to nuke his golden goose, the youth rehab center, better known as that hellish correctional facility. Trust me, Wuxung reveals. After witnessing the absolute nightmares inside those walls, I can tell you it is entirely fake. It is nothing like the utopia the president sells to the media. The guards literally watch teenagers beat each other bloody just for kicks. The dark truth. It is a gladiator pit, not a rehab. Hearing this juicy tea, Counselor Kang claps like a kid on Christmas. This nightmare facility is Han's Achilles heel. Wuxung figures that just leaking this savage reality to the press would instantly end Han's career. But Kang shakes his head, telling him to chill out. Bro society hates juvenile delinquents. People might actually like seeing them suffer, Kang points out. Han could just apologize and bounce back. Nah, we need to dig up something completely nuclear. Meanwhile, back at the gulag, the inmates are suffering through a brutal crab walk punishment. It is the twisted director's favorite little game. Muscles shaking, sweat dripping, Minsu is mentally screaming, when the hell does this end? He is seconds away from collapsing. Suddenly, a menacing shadow falls over him. Panicking Minsu chants crab crab. But looking up, his panic melts into pure relief. It is Wuxung in a guard uniform. Acting tough, Wuxung barks, "You step out for solo training." Knowing it is his VIP escape ticket, Minsu is absolutely hyped. Minsu totally thought Wuxung was hooking him up with VIP treatment. Plot twist. He gets hit with a brutal crab walk torture session instead. Sweating and pissed, Minsu yells at him for making things worse. But Wuxung just smirks, claiming he dragged him out here to drop phase 2 of their master plan. See, this whole juvie center runs on a strict point system. Grind out chores and you rack up good behavior points. Break the rules, your score tanks. You need to hit exactly 100 points just to get a shot at early release. Minsu's current score, -52. Thanks to 2 trips to solitary and a literal gang war. Bro hasn't earned a single flex point since he got here. Desperate, he begs to know the fastest way to level up. Right on cue, Wuxung whips out an application form like it's a golden ticket. The ultimate cheat code for massive points, signing up as a kitchen slave. Minsu instantly drops to the dirt, throwing a full-on tantrum. Walking into that kitchen right now is basically a death sentence. Hell no, I'd rather rot out here. Those culinary psychos are gonna slaughter me. Wuxung just lets out a heavy sigh. Fine, I'll figure out a backdoor method that doesn't involve kitchen duty. After a brutal afternoon of hardcore training, Minsu is absolutely wiped out. But the second his eyes flutter shut, clang scrub, a super annoying racket jolts him awake. The noise is coming from the 3 scrubbing the floor like peasants. Even the white-haired former top dog got completely demoted. Ever since Minsu forcefully snatched the cell boss crown, they mumble that the deep clean is almost wrapped up. Minsu leans on his fist, totally stressed out. Grinding out cleaning chores is way too slow. Hitting 100 points like this would literally take a lifetime. Suddenly, the heavy metal door aggressively slides open. 2 guards step in, barking out to see if the cleaning is done. Minsu nods, saying they're finishing up. The guard then points straight at him, ordering him to head solo to his next location. Apparently, someone already pulled strings and registered him for community service. Minsu's face lights up. Wuxung actually came through with a clutch alternative. He cheerfully salutes the guards and heads out. But the second he walks through those double doors, his smile instantly vanishes. He was forcefully assigned to the freaking kitchen squad. Betrayal hits Minsu like a truck. Didn't they just agree to avoid this exact nightmare? Meanwhile, the head cook Jung Dobo is a guy who literally dreams of becoming the top culinary god of the nation. Thanks to insane daily training, his massive right arm can easily flip a while effortlessly tossing 4 pounds of raw ingredients mid-air like it's absolutely nothing. His left hand, reserved strictly for surgically precise plating. Trashing his food is basically begging Jung Dobo to smash your face in. When a bunch of clueless punks hit the cafeteria line and loudly complain about the menu, he blasts them with a terrifying bloodthirsty glare. But Dobo forces himself to swallow his rage. His hands are tied. Why? Because every single cook in this joint is absolute garbage compared to his god-tier skills. These rookies are either setting the stoves on fire and screaming like idiots, or holding up a pan of toxic black sludge, trying to pass it off as chili oil. The kitchen is basically a war zone of culinary disaster. Watching top-tier ingredients get brutally massacred makes the big guy literally cry out in agony. He wants to rip these clowns apart with his bare hands, but at the end of the day, they're his crew. So he furiously grinds his teeth and tolerates the chaos. But today he has fresh meat. Lee Min-soo is built different. This punk heavily disrespected his kitchen gang. If Min-soo's knife skills turn out to be as trash as the rest of these losers, Dobo is going to use cooking lessons as an excuse to absolutely wreck him, with vengeance on his mind. The head chef violently grips a heavy iron frying pan and recklessly charges straight at Min-soo. But instead of panicking, Min-soo casually... The raging head chef who was ready to commit murder 3 seconds ago freezes, completely mind-blown. The frying pan clatters to the floor. Instead of attacking, Dobo violently hoists Min-soo into the air, bawling his eyes out. "I finally found you. I freaking knew this day would come." In a wild turn of events, Min-soo isn't just the ruthless cell boss anymore. He is now the ultimate protected treasure of the kitchen kingpin, Young Dobo himself. Meanwhile, the kitchen squad hiding out in the storage room is totally stressing. Somebody pitches a crazy idea, sparking a massive brawl between Young Dobo and Lee Min-soo. But honestly, with Dobo acting the way he is right now, that is basically impossible. The only toxic backup plan they can come up with, dumping literal trash into Min-soo's food, making it totally inedible, and forcing Dobo to flip his vibe toward the new kid. After bouncing the dirty scheme around, the whole crew smirks, hyped and ready to execute the sabotage. But right on cue, the heavy door swings wide open, and their pupils instantly shrink in pure panic. Enter guard Kang Wook-sung. Leaning in with a cocky grin, he drops the bomb. "I've been scratching my head wondering why our stash keeps vanishing. So, it was you little rats stirring up trouble all along. You scumbags stole from the house, now you're gonna pay the price." But the kitchen squad, they couldn't care less about his threat. They actually start trash-talking him. Like, who does this rent-a-cop think he is? Doesn't he realize he just stepped onto their turf? Big mistake. Before the punk even finishes running his mouth, bam, in exactly 2.5 seconds, Wook-sung absolutely wrecks every single hater planning to mess with Min-soo, even though the guard has zero clue who actually pulled the strings to get the new kid onto the kitchen crew. He can tell Min-soo is fitting right in. Cut to the warden's office. 2 guards step up to deliver their status report. The boss leans forward, grinning like a maniac. So, did they beat the living daylights out of each other? But the second they drop the news that no fists were thrown, the warden's smug smile straight up vanishes, throwing Min-soo to the wolves in the kitchen. And having his work completely derailed was the master plan all along. The guards know their boss's psycho temper, so they quickly slide him a perfectly cooked omuris, desperately trying to cool his rage. Meanwhile, back in the kitchen, young Dobo rallies the entire culinary squad around him. He hypes them up, shouting, "Are you guys ready for the one special day we only get once a month?" With a crazy smirk, he whips out a solid bar of soap, grates it down into tiny shreds, and tosses it straight into a hot pan. Next up, a heavy splash of olive oil. He dumps more than twice the amount of crushed soap into the pot, blasting it over a double boiler. Next up, he sprinkles in some finely milled powder and hits it with a fresh squeeze of orange juice to lock in that vitamin E. Finally, flexing those massive biceps, he whips the whole concoction together. The result, a bubbling pot of thick, glossy, mouth-watering syrup. But Jung Dubo quickly drops the bomb. "Bro, do not eat that. It is the all-natural hair wax, made exclusively for our kitchen crew." They always do this routine to hype up their special monthly holiday. But Min-soo is totally clueless. Like, what kind of special day? Requires a full-blown salon treatment, Jung Dubo smirks. Because today is the day the new supplies drop. Today we finally get to see the girls from the women's block. See, once a month, the cafeteria gets hit with a massive shipment of goods. And protocol dictates they have to split the entire stash straight down the middle with the women's prison kitchen staff. Honestly, it is the one and only ultimate perk of working kitchen duty. Today we're out here slicking back our hair, trying to look all grown up, flexing our broad shoulders, lifting heavy crates just to show off. But Min-soo bro is playing on easy mode. A whole squad of girls is swarming him, absolutely hyping him up. Not just for serving a ridiculously cute vibe, but literally stepping up to see if he needs a hand. Catching this play out from the sidelines, Jung Dubo is straight up burning with jealousy, thinking this dude is just living his best life, even trying to rizz up the ladies. But right at that moment, a petite girl pokes him in the back. She slips a secret letter into his hand, whispering to hide it quick. before the boss catches them. The second his fingers brush that envelope, young Dubo's face practically combusts. He is straight up floating on cloud nine, watching her flash a playful "sh" sign as she walks away. Inside his completely delusional head, he is already strutting down the wedding aisle, literally picking out names for their 5 future kids. In his wild imagination, happy tears are literally streaming down his face, but the second he rips open that envelope and reads the note, the color straight up drains from his cheeks. Because, major plot twist, that love letter isn't even for him. He's literally just the delivery boy supposed to hand it over to the class president. Man, poor Lee Min-soo. Over in the storage room, our guy is practically fighting for his life, just trying to catch his breath. He's totally baffled. Like, why are those kitchen crew NPCs only focused on simping and carrying stuff for the girls, totally forgetting their own jobs? Just as he pushes himself up to ditch the room, Jang Dobo literally spawns right behind him, demanding to know if he's the boss of Class A. Completely clueless, Min-soo nods like, yeah, that's me. Dobo instantly hits him with a wild question. Do you know what November 22nd is? Min-soo draws a total blank. Instantly the veins on Dobo's forehead look like they're about to pop. That is my 3-year wedding anniversary. And let me guess you don't even know who Yeji is. Min-soo starts low-key panicking, asking what he's even talking about, but Dobo just loses his mind. Yeji is the name of my 5th daughter. If you hadn't backstabbed me, she'd be out here rocking pigtails, living her best life in this beautiful world. And with that unhinged logic, Dobo winds up a massive punch and blitzes Min-soo. You wife-stealing piece of trash, I'm ending you. Min-soo throws up his hands, yelling that he hasn't done a single thing, but that giant fist is already flying at his face, left with 0 options. Min-soo violently dodges. And bro, that punch literally punches a hole straight through a solid iron cart. If Min-soo hadn't ducked, his skull would have been absolutely crushed. But even then, Min-soo still has 0 clue what the beef even is. Still facing a guy trying to actually murder him, he doesn't hesitate to throw hands back. But Dobo casually catches his ankle and just ragdolls him into the concrete. The giant tries to follow up with a brutal combo, but that mangled iron cart blocks his movement. Min-soo instantly spots the opening and charges in for a counterattack. But before he can even close the gap, he eats a nasty hook. The stat gap here is completely insane. Not only does this guy have crazy reach, but his raw power is just absolutely broken. Min-soo literally can't even get in his personal space, and tanking just one of his hits feels like taking a brick to the jaw. Right then, Dobo completely rips himself free from the cart's wreckage. He starts raining down haymakers on Min-soo. I'm taking So-young on a romantic hiking date up Mount Bukhan. In seconds, Min-soo gets totally boxed into a corner, but his brain goes into overdrive, desperately plotting a way to counter this monster. When Dobo drops his next bomb of a punch, Min-soo grabs a heavy iron pan off the floor and tanks the hit. Bro, I have no idea who So-young is, but your date idea is absolute trash. With that ultimate roast, he locks his arms tightly around Dobo's waist, dumping every ounce of his stamina into it. He tries to pivot the big guy and slam him straight into the wall. His big brain strats spam the exact same move that folded Gu Se-yoon to turn the tables. Great theory, 0 execution. He literally cannot move this dude an inch. Instead, Dobo just palms his entire face with one hand and hoists him into the air like a toddler. Lee Min-soo, you hijacked my pure love and my unborn kid's future, so die. Right as he's about to get clapped, Min-soo manages to snatch a bag of flour. With 0 hesitation, he forcefully busts it wide open all over Dobo. Meanwhile, the girls over in the kitchen are whining about how incredibly exhausting the chores are. Like they've never even touched dish soap at home and now they're being forced to play chef in here. Tragic. One chick sorting through the nearby supplies suddenly notices an extra box sitting in their inventory. It obviously belongs over at the boys' juvie block. She turns and asks the rest of the group if they're seriously supposed to go drop it off. Before she even finishes her sentence, one girl scoffs, saying if the guys want it so bad, they can hike over and fetch it themselves. Jang Dobo is way too terrifying. There's literally 0 chance she's stepping foot near him. Another girl chimes in. For real, I heard he once beat some dude named Chang-soo so brutally that he got completely expelled from the facility. Right when everyone is dodging the task, this one dark-haired girl eagerly swipes the box, practically volunteering as tribute. She says she's totally down to do the drop-off. Apparently, she actually finds Dobo low-key cute. Meanwhile, back in the danger zone, an absolutely lethal game of tag is popping off in the storage room. Min-soo is fully abusing his speed stats, kiting the massive guy in circles. Soon enough, Dobo's stamina bar is completely drained. Panting like crazy, he yells at Min-soo to just come accept his death. He aggressively promises to make it quick. But before he even finishes his villain speech, top splat. An egg explodes right on his face. Minsu snatches up a whole tray and starts rapid-firing them. Completely dripping in yolk and batter, Dobo reaches peak rage. With one casual swing, he instantly crushes a solid iron kettle like a soda can. He starts weaponizing literally everything in sight. Minsu weaves through the chaos, screaming that throwing stuff like that can be completely lethal. But Jong Dobo is totally unhinged and does not care. He grabs a massive pot of sizzling oil and hurls it straight at him. Right on cue, the dark-haired delivery girl pops the door open, only to face a flying wave of scalding oil. Seeing this, Dobo freezes instantly, but in a split second Minsu dives in and wraps his arms tightly around her using his own body as a human shield for the girl. Fast forward. After double-checking Minsu's ward with the medical crew, Wuksung rips back the hospital curtain and his jaw practically drops. Minsu is laying there looking like an actual skeleton. Okay, chill, it's obviously just Minsu pulling a sick prank. Wuksung's face goes totally deadpan, radiating absolute murder. Catching that terrifying vibe, Minsu instantly drops the act and plays the victim card, swearing that thank God the oil wasn't actually boiling, or else he'd be a literal pile of bones right now. Wuksung gives his head a rough pat. Hey, as long as you're breathing. After some back and forth, Minsu's genius plan to head back to the kitchen gets instantly vetoed. Wuksung snaps. Bro, after nearly getting deep fried, you still want to go back to the kitchen? Minsu fires back that it's the ultimate fast track to grind points. Look, you promised. I'm trusting you to train me to absolutely wreck Jeong Dobo. Once I completely crush that guy, this whole nightmare is over. Wuksung scratches his head, completely defeated, and finally nods. Next up, Wuksung flexes his guard privileges to request a highly classified punishment routine from the warden, specifically meant for hardcore juvenile inmates. Since Dobo is literally in a totally different weight class, taking him down means Minsu desperately needs a brutal power-building montage. We're talking dual leg presses with massive boulders leveling up to pushing solid iron pyramids. Meanwhile, Gu Se-yoon has been rotting in solitary for exactly 1 week, and he is still losing his mind over how the hell he lost to Minsu. That weakling barely landed a single hit on him. If they ran it back right now, there is zero chance he'd take an L. But honestly, his biggest crisis at this exact second is the toilet paper situation. He is totally out of TP, the water is shut off, and he's already sacrificed half his sleeves to the cause. With zero viable options left, he grips his remaining sleeve ready to rip it for wiping duty. Staring at the shredded fabric, panic sets in. If I use this now, what the heck do I use next time? Right on cue, a fresh roll of toilet paper comes flying out of nowhere. Yo, stop wiping with literal garbage and use some actual TP. Wuksung yells at him to hurry up and finish. But when Wuksung swings the cell door wide open, the room is completely empty. Suddenly, Se-yoon materializes right behind him, growling, "How do you know my sister?" without missing a beat. He throws a vicious sucker punch. Too bad Wuksung is a pro. He catches the fist effortlessly, locking him down in one fluid motion. Boom! He pins him hard to the concrete. Se-yoon always knew the guard was tough, but he didn't expect him to be this insanely overpowered. While his brain is buffering, Wuksung's fist is already locked and loaded. Se-yoon squeezes his eyes shut, bracing for absolute impact. But major plot twist. Wuksung doesn't throw the punch. Instead, he smirks, whips out his phone, and dials Gu Se-min's number. "Since you're so desperate to know, why don't you just ask your sister yourself?" The call connects, and Se-yoon's brain practically short-circuits. He cautiously stammers into the mic, asking who's there, how they got Se-min's phone, and if she somehow busted out of the facility. Se-min completely ignores his questions. Instead, she orders Wuksung to plug his ears. She's got a few choice words for her idiot brother. The second Wuksung covers his ears, Se-min goes absolute goblin mode. She unleashes a toxic wave of screaming and raging insults. Even though her savage roast is already tearing Se-yoon's soul into tiny pieces, the voice on the other end just won't stop screeching. Finally pushed to his absolute limit, a violently shaking Se-yoon smashes the end call button. Hearing pure silence for a second, Wuksung drops his hands and asks Se-yoon what just happened. How'd he end up looking like absolute trash? Se-yoon is completely dead inside. "It's nothing. I'm just burnt out." Then he shifts gears. "You're working with Seaman, right? You're Minsu's brother. You're the guy who taught Minsu how to throw hands, aren't you?" Wuksung nods. "Nailed it. Got a problem with that." Hearing that validation, Se-yoon's eyes practically spark back to life. He swears he'll do whatever it takes and begs Wuksung to train him to fight too. Fast forward 1 month. The whole kitchen crew is straight up malding in the storage room. Ever since Jung Dobo clashed with Lee Min-soo, the dude's been a walking zombie. Thanks to him, the squad keeps getting ripped a new one over scorched food. If this keeps up, they're definitely getting booted. But right on cue, Bam Lee Min-soo kicks the door wide open and struts in. One look at him and a massive vein pops on Jung Dubo's forehead. Boom. Depression era over. Lee Min-soo, this is all on you. I'm gonna completely end you. But right as he charges in, he hits the brakes. Min-soo smirks and asks if he wants to know the real reason. Dying to know, Jung Dobo takes the bait. Why, but Min-soo totally roasts him. Because you're just straight up ugly. The second those words drop, Jung Dobo goes from 0 to 100, absolutely snapping. The rest of the kitchen crew just freeze in pure panic. They're all thinking the exact same thing. Has Min-soo completely lost his mind poking the bear like this? Somebody is definitely getting flatlined today, but facing the raging giant. Min-soo just keeps spitting pure trash talk. Just like their last showdown, he dances around the heavyweight, draining his stamina dry. Before long, the meathead is gassed out. Realizing swinging at air isn't working, he hops straight up onto the table. He launches himself off, throwing a massive haymaker at Min-soo. But once again, Min-soo easily slips the punch, letting that giant fist slam right into a solid steel pillar, completely trapping Jung Dobo's explosive strike. But wait. At the exact same time, Min-soo purposely takes a hit from the big guy's left hand. Why? To totally bait him into dropping his guard, making the giant think he's still got the upper hand. In a flash, Min-soo seizes the opening and locks onto Jung Dobo's left arm, with an iron grip using both hands. I actually use my brain, you idiot. You just walked right into my trap. With that, Min-soo suddenly anchors his legs, cranking up the pressure. Using just one arm, he bends Jung Dobo's left joint all the way behind his head. You absolute meathead, it's payback time. Meanwhile, the warden is chilling in the cafeteria waiting for his VIP meal. Wook-sung, doing his best waiter cosplay, rolls up with a tray. Warden, sir, since today's a special occasion, I personally handled the cooking, presenting steamed Alaskan cod. Seeing the setup, the warden is totally hyped. He never thought he'd get top-tier dining in a place like this. Next up, Wook-sung pours him an exclusive drink. The warden sips it like it's a $100,000 wine. But honestly, the real main course is the absolutely unhinged underground fight playing out right in front of him. Cut back to the brawl, with his left arm locked up. Jung Dobo flexes his ego. So you're finally done running away. But the second he rips his right fist free from the steel pillar, reality hits him. Not only is his left arm completely out of commission, but he can't even swing his right hand. The main reason, his own massive hulking frame is literally blocking his reach. Min-soo doesn't waste a single breath. He unleashes a brutal combo right to the giant's face. Eating those heavy strikes, Jung Dobo is completely baffled. Where the hell did you learn ground and pound like this? He spits back. But you seriously think this is enough to take me down? Jung Dobo tries to rely on pure muscle to shove Min-soo off. But Min-soo's flawless lockdown stance means the big guy can't even budge him a single inch. Instead, he just keeps catching nasty straight hooks to the jaw. Flashback to 1 month ago. Wook-sung had totally laid out the master plan, breaking down the exact strategy to completely dismantle Jung Dobo. Back in the previous scrap, Min-soo and Se-yoon were only separated by 1 weight class. That's exactly how Min-soo secured the win, by dragging him into deep waters. But the boss he's facing right now, Jung Dobo, the guy is a full 3 weight classes above him. Trying to pull the exact same trick to beat him is basically a suicide mission. Nah, bro needs to pray he doesn't get boxed into a corner himself. Bulking up overnight. How on earth do you flip them? The secret sauce is all about leverage. Basically, human biomechanics run on the exact same physics. So if Min-soo becomes the literal crowbar to shift that boulder, he can completely off-balance the big guy right now. Dubo is absolutely seething. He is throwing his entire weight around, but the kid standing in front of him refuses to budge an inch, leaving the giant open to a totally one-sided beatdown. Watching the carnage through the glass, Wook-sung smirks and asks the warden if he is enjoying the show. The warden scoffs, admitting it is mildly entertaining. But the outcome is way too predictable. Just look at Dubo's face, the dude isn't taking any actual damage. Those scrawny little fists can't dent a tank like him, plus Min-soo is already completely gassed. At the end of the day, weight classes exist for a reason. Wook-sung just grins. How about we make a little wager? I will put my money on the kid Min-soo taking the win. Hearing that, the warden's eyes light up. A bet. Now we're talking. You seriously love throwing your money away on wild cards, huh? But Wook-sung knows better. Claiming headshots don't matter. Just because the guy is massive, that is absolute garbage. Just look at the fundamental boxing stance. It is literally hardwired to shield the face and the skull. Why? Because your head is basically a glass cannon packed with every major kill switch in the human body. And the ultimate weak point, the jaw. One solid crack to the chin rattles the brain and wrecks your inner ear, instantly short-circuiting your opponent's balance. Sure, in amateur brawls, sheer size and bulk might save you. But when push comes to shove, right at that second, a dazed Dubo literally hallucinates his dream girl So Young, waving a tragic goodbye right as Min Soo delivers a devastating knockout blow straight to his face. Poof! His imaginary wife and their 5 non-existent kids vanish into thin air. The entire kitchen crew, watching this absolute titan crash to the floor, are left entirely speechless. The warden gasps, absolutely shook. How the hell did you know that little punk was gonna pull this off? Wook-sung just chills. Pure gut feeling, hearing that flex. The warden storms off, totally salty about losing. Your gut feelings are definitely something else. Better start brainstorming what you want for your prize, man. Down on the floor, Min Soo is fighting for air, hyped that he actually survived this nightmare. But then his eyes lock onto a crumpled love letter that slipped right out of Dubo's pocket. He pops it open, only to realize it is explicitly addressed to the alpha of the A-rank cell. Wait a minute. That means this extremely corny love letter was never meant for Min Soo. It was for Gu Se-yun the whole time. The kitchen squad drops the bomb. Dubo was entirely convinced Min Soo wrote that letter for him. That's literally why the giant was trying to murder him. Realizing this, Min Soo is just dumbfounded. Are you kidding me? Every single ounce of brutal torture he just suffered was all because this huge meathead completely misread the damn envelope. The sheer rage makes Min Soo want to wake the guy up just to punch him again, but the kitchen crew frantically tackles him, begging him to chill out. Cut to a highly restricted VIP zone where a bunch of elite inmates are casually playing poker. They are heavily complaining that the draft for the next candidate is totally falling apart. First Se-yun drops and now Dubo is out cold. Like, is this Min Soo kid actually a beast? Dubo ruled the Gangyo district, with their top 2 picks getting completely clapped. They have no choice but to trigger the backup plan. Option 1. The infamous black-suited mob boss from Daeondong, the construction overlord himself, Lee Kang-min. Option 2. The absolute wildcard from the maintenance crew, Song Chul. But the second these names drop, the table instantly sparks up with backlash. Look, Kang-min making the cut makes total sense, but what the hell is Song Chul doing on this roster? That guy isn't even a boss. Jisoo initially wanted to sit this one out, but now, he is totally hooked. I am officially throwing Lee Min-soo's name in the ring. That blonde dude is none other than Lim Jisoo, the undisputed top dog of the Gangyo Rehab Center. Meanwhile, our boy finally grasps why Yang Dubo was suffering so badly. These guys are absolute kitchen terrorists. All Min Soo can do right now is scream his lungs out, begging them to stop. Fast forward, and it is supply drop day once again. She nervously mumbles, "Thanks for saving me back there." Min Soo awkwardly scratches his head, dodging the praise, playing it off like it was no big deal at all. And right on cue, a blushing Seira shoves a freaking love letter into his hands, having been burned before. Min Soo squints, asking if it is meant for Gu Si-yoon. "It is for you, dummy." Once he actually confirms his name on the envelope, he turns bright crimson. Bro is already hallucinating a whole happy family in his head. At this point, Min Soo is literally glowing like a giant tomato. But plot twist, this black-haired beauty actually had her eyes on him way before this. She was just taking a casual stroll. After lunch, that exact same day, Min Soo threw down with Gu Si-yoon. She has been secretly stressing over him ever since. And now, thanks to some serious hype from her squad, she finally pulled together the guts to confess. Cut back to the cell. Min Soo is just staring at the letter with the goofiest grin ever. His cellmates are absolutely raging, calling him a total backstabber. "Are you seriously losing it over a piece of paper?" Min Soo fires back that yeah, a love letter makes him the happiest guy alive. He even flexes by inviting the guys to read it with him. Meanwhile, the camera pans to Kang Wook-sung stepping into the warden's office. The warden notes he has been locked up at this joint for about 3 months now. Rumor has it, you secured early admission to the military academy. "Having a prodigy like you locked in my facility, pure luck." Wook-sung immediately turns on the loyalty act, swearing he is going to grind even harder for the boss. But then the warden hits him with a curveball. I've been catching some pretty wild stuff on the security cams, right? You and Lee Min Soo seem way too tight. What is the actual deal between you two? If Wook-sung wants to bust Min Soo out of this hellhole, he has to keep their brotherhood a dead secret. Plus, since he was adopted, literally nobody knows they are related. Hearing the warden's shady questions, panic flares up. Did the old man actually figure it out? But no matter what, he cannot blow his cover. He needs an alibi, and fast. Before he can sweat, the warden chuckles. "You guys are pulling a whole master and student dynamic, aren't you? I literally watched you train Lee Min-soo to fight. No wonder you took that bet with me. You knew your boy would clutch the win. Guess you aren't just book smart but a total beast in combat too. Hearing this, Wook-sung internally exhales. He plays it off, claiming Min-soo was desperate to get stronger and begged for lessons, so he caved. The warden throws a warning glare, telling him to stop hanging around the trash. Wook-sung nods obediently. He quickly dips out, claiming he needs to prep for outdoor activities. The second the door clicks shut, the warden grabs his phone. His gut is telling him there is way more to this story. So he is ordering a deep dive into Wook-sung's hidden past. Cut over to solitary confinement. Si-yoon finally lets out a massive sigh of relief. Judging by the chaotic screaming on that phone call, he realizes his sister, it must have safely escaped the facility. Meanwhile, Dubo, who is also rotting in solitary, is curled up in a corner shivering and sobbing. He is still insanely salty over the whole love letter drama, crying about how unfair it is and putting all the blame on Min-soo. Right then, the cell door swings open. It is Wook-sung dropping cold hard facts that Min-soo isn't the one who ruined him. Dubo just bawls his eyes out, screaming, "What do you know, that jerk Min-soo stole my wife and kids? My life is totally wrecked." But hold up, the room boss mentioned in that letter was not Min-soo at all. It was Se-hyun. The second Dobo hears that, he does a complete 180 and screams, "Min-soo. Bro, my bad, I totally blamed the wrong guy. Se-hyun, you absolute snake, you are dead meat." Wook-sung tells him to chill out, pulling up a pic on his phone and saying they shouldn't jump the gun just yet. Glaring at the screen, Dobo hisses, "Wait, isn't that the kitchen goddess Gu Se-min? Why the heck is she posing with that punk? I swear I will crush Se-hyun for trying to snatch my queen." But when Wook-sung drops the bomb that they are actually siblings, Dobo just short circuits. "Wait, does that make Se-hyun my brother-in-law?" He barely finishes that thought before Se-hyun, who heard the whole circus from across the hall, barks back, "Shut your trap, you fat pig, who the heck is your—" Suddenly they are straight up screaming at each other through the walls. One dude is yelling about thinking of their future nieces and nephews, while the other is just fiercely roasting him back. Watching this absolute dumpster fire, Wook-sung finally breathes a sigh of relief. The chaos is practically handled. Min-soo just needs to keep grinding for those points. Plus, there is a bigger fish to fry. He needs to dig up the shady secrets the warden is hiding in this hellhole, even wearing a guard badge. He is completely locked out of that zone. He also spots a dude rocking a red prison jumpsuit. Meanwhile, Min-soo is scrubbing down in the showers. This soap scrap is even tinier than before. How is anyone supposed to get clean with this crumb? But right then, a hand slides him a full bottle of shampoo. Min-soo grabs it, totally tripped out. Premium stuff inside the clink. No way. He turns to Lim Jisoo, who is washing up right next to him, asking where he scored the goods. Plus, his jumpsuit is straight red with 0 name tags. Jisoo casually introduces himself, dropping Min-soo's name right off the bat. Out of nowhere, Jisoo leans in close. Min-soo braces himself ready to throw hands, but Jisoo just gently pats his head. "How did you clutch those 2 fights?" Min-soo smirks. "I will let the head pat slide because of the shampoo." But then Jisoo drops a total riddle. "I tracked you down this time, but next round you gotta come find me. It won't be a walk in the park. I will be waiting." There is no universe where Min-soo claps you, so why did you throw the match? Dobo demands, grilling Si-yoon on his loss. Si-yoon sighs, admitting he was totally careless, and the kid rolled up, locked in with a solid game plan. Dobo scoffs, groaning that he basically got played the exact same way. Si-yoon narrows his eyes, saying that after those 2 smackdowns, the higher-ups definitely clocked Min-soo right. Dobo nods. They absolutely noticed. They even tried to weaponize him against Min-soo. Dobo mumbles about maybe pushing Min-soo as a candidate, but Si-yoon's response straight up floors him. "Nah, I will prove I am the real deal, claw my way to the top, and serve them some massive payback." 15 days later, Min-soo is fully vibing with the kitchen squad. He is totally zoned out, skipping his meal. He does not even sense Dobo creeping up right behind him. Dobo raises his fists, looking like he is about to drop a massive strike, but a second later he straight up drops to his knees. "Bro, my bad, Min-soo. I completely mixed you up with someone else and made your life hell. And honestly, since Si-yoon is basically my brother-in-law now, I cannot even hold a grudge for you anymore." Hearing this, Min-soo just reaches out. "Apology accepted. Let's grab some ramen." Dobo instantly tears up, totally touched by the flex. The whole kitchen crew goes wild, cheering them on. The beef is officially squashed, especially since Min-soo just bagged a love letter from a totally different girl. The second those words drop, Dobo's face twists right back into psycho mode. "Min-soo, you sneaky little rat. Are you trying to steal my second wife now?" Instantly, the food pantry turns into a high-speed chase scene again. But this time it is just guys being dudes roughhousing for laughs. Min-soo is grinning from ear to ear, hyped that tomorrow is the day he finally replies to Sarah's love letter. But when tomorrow actually hits, that smile gets completely wiped off his face. 'Cause he just got slapped with community service duty. He's dead set on tracking down that rat and shoving the letter in his face. The older guys try to cool him down, reminding him it's the ultimate cheat code to rack up major points. Just then, a rival squad of juvie punks rolls up for the exact same gig. They start talking trash right away. "Want to be my lackeys? I could hook you up with a burger flipping job or whatever." The whole cell block snaps back instantly. "The hell are you yapping about?" One of their beefy goons spots Minsu disrespecting his boss. He lunges forward and violently grabs Minsu by the collar. "You seriously the dude who wrecked Si-hyun and Dobo cause your scrawny ass looks totally pathetic?" Right as fists are about to fly, a guard stomps in to crash the party. Instantly, both crews snap to attention, freezing in two perfectly straight lines. The rival leader with the sketchy eyes immediately snitches. He swears his guys were just chilling and blames Minsu's crew for starting the beef. The bald senior inmate Wang Yue opens his mouth to fight back. Boom! The guard's fist violently smashes into his face. "You piece of trash, just looking at your ugly mug pisses me off. You're obviously the one stirring up drama." Minsu stands there totally shell-shocked. He has zero clue why this guard would randomly assault his own guy. But then he catches the rival punk smirking. Click. The guard is totally on their payroll. Yuk takes the brutal hits, desperately begging for mercy. Thankfully, Wook Sung bursts in just in time to pull the psycho guard off him. "Knock it off, we gotta roll out soon." Seeing his coworker, the corrupt guard throws on a fake smile claiming the brats were about to brawl. So he just lost his temper for a sec. After brushing it off, he escorts his little squad of juvie delinquents onto the bus. Wook Sung checks on Yuk, asking if he's too banged up for community service. Yuk grunts that he's fine. Wook Sung then stares intensely at Minsu's back, a question burning in his mind. "You weren't seriously thinking about jumping a guard back there, right?" Minsu flashes a chilling smile. "Bro, how could you even think that?" Once they board the bus, Minsu nudges Hyunjun. "Dude, do you smell that garbage?" He whips around and spots a guy chilling in the back row with his nasty bare feet kicked out. Minsu barks at them to put those vile things away, but their leader just sneers. "Got a problem, step up to my boys." Even that punk Yoon wouldn't stand a chance. But the absolute millisecond those words leave his mouth, he just stands there, dead silent, and shoots a single icy glare. All the color instantly drains from the loudmouth leader's face. His pathetic flunkies are so terrified they scramble to hide their gross feet. Minsu is totally caught off guard. He had no idea Si-hyun was getting released from solitary confinement today. Damn it, he curses to himself. This field trip is going to be a massive bloodbath. Because honestly, every single guy on this bus is an absolute menace. Before long, they finally pull up to the nursing home. The director and the entire staff are already waiting at the entrance to greet them. Wu Xiang steps up like a total professional to shake the director's hand. "We're really hoping this little program will spark a positive change in these boys from the facility." Another guard chimes in saying he'll be snapping photos to document the juvies bonding with the seniors. The sweet old ladies immediately bust out the welcome drinks for the boys. The inmates take one sip and completely lose their minds. "Bro, it's been ages since I had a Coke. This literally tastes like childhood." So the main mission for today, babysitting the elderly. Since the place is basically a ghost town for anyone under 60, the guys won't stop whining about it. But right then, one of the older inmates points a finger. "Yo, isn't that a hot girl over there?" Si-hyun whips his head around to look and his heart drops. The girl standing there is his own sister, Si-yun. The shock hits him so hard that he completely crushes the soda cup in his bare hand. What the hell is his sister doing in a place like this? The crew's first community service gig, scrubbing the feet of the elderly. A sketchy guard hovers nearby, filming the whole PR stunt. Meanwhile, Minsu just finishes drying off a senior, wipes the sweat off his forehead and lets out a massive sigh. But instantly, someone else barks at him for a wash. Assuming it's just another grandpa, Minsu dives right in. Even dropping a soft "Man, you must have been through a lot, sir." Seeing the blistered, beat-up feet, Minsu looks up about to ask if the water temperature is okay. Bam. That is definitely not an old man staring back at him. It's Lee Cho, the absolute menace running cell block. Cho violently shoves his soaking wet foot right into Minsu's face. "Scrub it clean, loser." He actually smirks, asking if Minsu wants to be his personal human foot towel. Blood boils. Minsu is ready to snap, but Hyunjun violently yanks him back. "Chill out, bro," he hisses. The guard is literally right there snapping photos. Cho and his goons burst out laughing. "Look at this hot-headed punk guess. Si-yoon and Dubo's crew ain't crap." Minsu grits his teeth, swallowing the disrespect, totally aware the guard is on Cho's payroll. Throwing hands now means game over. Cut to outside. "Grandma, those flowers are gorgeous. Let's take a breather right here." Seo Young is casually strolling, pushing a sweet old lady in a wheelchair. Si-yoon rolls up, raising an eyebrow. Everyone is sweating inside doing charity and you're out here chilling. But Seo Young genuinely wants to care for the elderly. Ironically, she got locked up in this rehab center for beating the brakes off a creepy old dude. Seamin sighs quietly. Yeah, honestly, we both messed up. We got tossed in juvie even though that creep was the one who crossed the line. Not all boomers are toxic like that. We're all gonna get old someday. What kind of elders do you think we'll be? Siyun gives her a blank stare. What are you even getting at? Seaman gently pushes the wheelchair forward. When your hair goes gray, what kind of person will you become? Think about it. Case fast forward, it's finally lunch hour. The inmates grab trays assigned to help feed the seniors. Minsu is carefully spoon-feeding a grandma when he hears sobbing. He snaps his head around. Cho is violently scarfing down the food, openly tormenting the old lady next to him. Cho's toxic minions laugh mockingly, whining. Oops, my bad, total accident. Minsu clenches his fists, ready to launch himself at them. But Hyunjun and Yuk grab him fast. They literally dumped a food tray on her head, Minsu screams. But the corrupt guard completely ignores it. The official story, just a clumsy accident. Knowing the system is rigged, Minsu brutally swallows his rage. Across the room, Cho's crew is smirking. Man, I thought the S-tier fighters were scary, but they're totally pathetic. I don't give a damn about fighting ranks. In the real world, cash is the ultimate superpower. Here in Juvie, your rank isn't about muscle, it's about how heavy your crimes are. Sure, worse crimes usually mean better fighters. Cho's crew is locked up in Cell C for massive fraud, so yeah, they can't throw a punch to save their lives. But they don't need to. Just look at the news. The billionaire CEO of UN Group Moon Ojik just copped a sweet release. On health grounds. Stack enough paper and the guards, the cops, even the legal system becomes your personal bodyguard. Lacking muscle? Just buy it. And scammers, they are absolutely loaded. Cho truly believes that with a fat enough wallet, even the deadliest S-tier fighters will eventually bow down and bark on command. His goons cheer, hyping up his twisted logic. And that hype makes them dangerously reckless. They were assigned to assist the seniors in the shower room. But instead, these scumbags are hotboxing the bathroom, completely ignoring the help, literally getting scorched by boiling shower water. Right at that horrifying second, Yuk, carrying his cleaning supplies, steps up to scrub the baths. He pulls the door open and freezes. His eyes go wide in absolute horror. The broom drops from his hand, clattering against the tiles. As he physically throws himself in front of the scalding water to shield the old man, Cho's goons just start spewing trash talk. Bro, you literally gave us a heart attack. We straight up thought you were a guard. Yuki snaps, telling them they totally crossed the line. What if Grandpa just had a whole heart attack? But the second the words leave his mouth, bam, a fist brutally smashes right into his face. The heavyweight dude throws the first punch, totally triggered. Who the heck do you think you are trying to— His two little lackeys just stand on the sidelines, cracking up and hyping him up like crazy. Taking the hit, Yuki doesn't even flinch and instantly swings right back. Bring it on, you freaking punks. By the time Minsu and Hyunjun finally track Yuki down, he is already knocked out cold on the floor. Desperate Minsu completely bolts to find Wook-sung, praying the guy can back him up and set up the ultimate payback mission. But Wook-sung shuts it down hard. Bro, we are already on the outside. Why keep throwing punches? You stir up drama out here and things are gonna get massively ugly. Realizing Wook-sung is a total dead end, Minsu spins around to dip out, but a harsh voice freezes them dead in their tracks. Guard Jongji pops up out of absolutely nowhere, sneering. If my ears are not playing tricks on me, Minsu, did you seriously just drop Sergeant Kang Hyun's name? Catching that, both of their faces instantly drop, totally paralyzed. Right as he totally scrambles to cook up an excuse, Ji pushes harder. It has been bugging me for a hot minute. The way Sergeant Kang treats you, it is giving major family vibes. So, what is the actual deal between you two? Wook-sung is absolutely sweating bullets, his cover literally seconds away from being blown wide open when suddenly, Si-yoon crashes the scene, screaming right at Wook-sung. Yo, I have been hunting for you everywhere, those toxic dudes are starting drama again. Ji is totally mind-blown. How does a punk kid have the absolute nerve to talk to a guard like they are besties? Wook-sung quickly covers. Yeah, maybe I have been way too chill with these kids. So they keep running their mouths like that. Ji shoots him a deadly glare. This place is turning into a straight-up gangster academy, Guard Kang. I will let it slide today, but catch you vibing with these delinquents again, and I am heavily snitching. The second Ji finally walks away. Wook-sung's racing heart finally drops back down to normal. But honestly, if this keeps up, his dark secret is totally gonna blow up in his face. Minsu gives Si-yoon a solid bro tap on the chest to show some love. But Si-yoon immediately claps back. Do not get it twisted, mama's boy. I am not doing this for you. The vibe instantly turns toxic and they are literally seconds away from throwing hands again. Out of absolute nowhere, Wuksung snatches both of their necks like he is grabbing rubber chickens. Knock off the nonsense right now, Minsu whines like a kicked puppy. Still guilt-tripping Siyun. Are you seriously going? Wuksung absolutely snaps, pointing a furious finger right at his face. You literally just dodged a massive bullet, and you are still running your mouth. You genuinely want to rot in this absolute hellhole for the rest. He then drops the ultimate babysitting duty on Siyun, ordering him to shadow Minsu 24/7. Siyun desperately wants to reject the quest, but he completely knows saying no means a brutal double training session later. He totally has no choice but to take the L and accept. Later on, the staff straight up forces them into the worst side quest ever, changing diapers for the paralyzed seniors. After suffering through a whole bunch of patients, Minsu gears up for the next bed, only to suddenly realize the giant stash of fresh diapers has totally vanished. Glancing over his shoulder, he spots Cho and his toxic crew hoarding all the supplies, wearing them like some kind of gross armor. Yo, Diaper Squad, time to roll out. Let us absolutely wreck this Class K loser. Seeing this clown show, Minsu is ready to leap in and throw down, but Siyun aggressively body blocks him. Hold up, man. Wook-sung literally ordered you to stay chill. Minsu lets out a massive sigh, muttering, I physically cannot just let them disrespect me like that. Right then, Cho starts screeching like a literal toddler. We are not playing games out here, boys. We even captured an evil monster and guess who the so-called monster is? It is Yuki, completely duct-taped to a freaking chair. They absolutely humiliated him, trapping his entire head inside a gross diaper with literally just his nose poking out. Witnessing this straight-up torture, Minsu's blood utterly boils. Are you freaking kidding me? How dare you torture a guy who is literally already injured? Si-yoon sharply smacks the back of Minsu's head, barking at him to cool his jets. But Minsu just absolutely roars, or I am throwing hands with you first. Si-yoon calmly just points a finger across the room. Go ahead and fight if you really want, but check out who is standing right over there. Cho is literally dry snitching to the guard, totally whining that Minsu's crew is stirring up massive trouble again. And right on cue, Guard G sharply glares down Minsu's squad with a lethal warning. I swear if you brats trigger one more problem, brace yourself for a brutal disciplinary drill when you get back. Desperate to keep Wuksong out of the crossfire, Minsu bites his tongue and falls in line. Later that afternoon, Cho's lackeys step out for a smoke break. The heavyweight of the crew turns to their boss, Taeho. How much longer are we playing lapdog for this guy? Every time Cho runs his mouth, I want to rip it right off his face. We're only riding with him for the cash. But he actually thinks he's the kingpin. Taeho smirks, brushing it off. Not for much longer. For now, he's just slumming it with the C-tier nobodies to coast by in comfort. The second a window opens, they're making their move. His ultimate endgame. The absolute peak, where only the heavy hitters survive. The red uniform zone. A VIP playground. Word on the street is they're drafting the next top prospect straight out of here. And right now, one of those prime targets just happens to be Sehun. The lackey squints, totally clueless. Wait, isn't that the same Sehun who got wrecked by Minsu? Taeho scoffs. Probably just a garbage rumor. Look at Minsu, the kid is a lightweight. His master plan: crush Sehun and force the big leagues to notice him. Minsu is calculating his next move. Right now, he has to swallow his pride, even to fix the total mess in his dorm. Dragging Wuksong into this drama is totally off the table. While he's racking his brain for an escape route, bam, two thugs stroll up and violently trip him. The lackeys point and burst into obnoxious laughter as he hits the dirt. In that split second, pure rage completely nukes Minsu's self-control. You absolute scumbags, I'm ending you right here. But of course, the universe always throws a curveball to interrupt the chaos. Semin, who was chilling nearby, casually hands him a tissue. Glad you're in one piece. You're built tough, just like Wuksong, not shedding a single tear over this. Minsu blinks, totally caught off guard. Wait, you know my... Semin gently wipes the grime off his face and nods. Minsu's eyes dart to her name tag, Gu Semin. Walking away, she tosses a final request over her shoulder. Keep an eye on my brother for me. Left alone, the gears in Minsu's head start grinding. Gu Se-hyun, Gu Semin, putting the puzzle pieces together. She has to be Se-hyun's sister. And just like that, a wild master plan to exterminate the C-tier squad clicks into place. He storms straight into the classroom and cold-cocks Se-hyun, loudly announcing it's payback for the cheap shot to the head. You want to settle this one-on-one, right now. Se-hyun drops his gaze aggressively, shutting it down. Don't even think about it. But under the surface, he is absolutely itching to decimate every single one of those C-tier troublemakers. Cut to the rooftop. Semin is chilling, waiting for Wuksung. Out of nowhere, an ice-cold drink is planted right on her head. My bad for the wait. Wuksong leans back, asking what the emergency is. Semin flashes a smile, admitting that thanks to his moves, she finally got to see Se-hyun. So as the older sister, I owe you a massive thank you. Wuksong shrugs it off, reminding her she's been saving his skin lately too. I only played along, because there was a sweet payoff in it for me. Semin rolls her eyes, sighing. You seriously have a god-tier talent for making people want to punch you in the throat. The banter fades out, leaving a genuine knowing smile. Then Wuksong shifts gears. Have you heard the chatter about the red uniforms? But one look at Semin's blank expression confirms she is totally out of the loop. The other guards treat the topic like a plague, or flat out refuse to drop a single detail. Squeezing any solid intel out of them is literally impossible. Wuksong checks out, saying he's gotta bounce. Otherwise, who knows what kind of apocalyptic mess Minsu is triggering right now. Semin waves him off, telling him to chill. She had already secretly ordered Sehyun to babysit the kid, earlier when those goons jumped him. Minsu totally swallowed his rage. Honestly, pretty hardcore. Wuksong smirks. The kid is practically my clone, so obviously he's a legend. He's stubborn as hell, but when the chips are down, he executes flawlessly. Hearing him brag, Semin fires right back, hyping up her own bloodline. That's exactly why I put Sehyun on watch duty. He's rock solid. After all, my little brother is built different, tough, and reliable. But while these two are busy flexing their sibling pride, they are completely blind to the fact that Sehyun and Minsu are currently throwing absolute hands, catching wind of the ultimate showdown. Cho's entire goon squad flocks to the arena to spectate. Breathing heavy, Minsu aggressively calls them out. You scumbags terrorized our dorms. You pulled sick, twisted pranks on the defenseless old guys in here. Seoyun doesn't even flinch. He just snaps back. What's that got to do with him? Shut your mouth and throw hands. But right then, Minsu drops a bomb. Word on the street is their next target is that volunteer Siyun. That's your little sister, right? Man, I'm stressed just thinking about what those creeps might pull. Minsu totally engineered this whole guilt trip after running into her. Seeing zero action, Cho's crew starts barking at them, mocking them for being all talk and no bite. One cocky thug even steps up to run his mouth. Don't tell me you're actually scared of Minsu Boom. Before the dude can even blink, Seoyun cracks him upside the head. You know what, I think homeboy actually made a valid point. Cho's goons totally lose their minds, screaming, demanding to know why Seoyun just straight up decked their boy. I mean, my sister is gorgeous, sure, so I wasn't even sweating it. But man, the more it marinates, the more it ticks me off. I'm gonna make you clowns pay for messing with my cellmates all this time. Meanwhile, in the storage room, Gary practically bows as he lights Cho's cigarette, sneaking Cho into this outdoor gig. Gary literally forged the paperwork just to hook him up. Cho takes a drag, casually mentioning he's vibing with the setup, and promises an even bigger payday this time around. Snatching the cash, Gary kisses up. Boss, you're always hooking me up with this side hustle cash. I should be the one thanking you. Soaking up the ego boost, Cho lays out his master plan, dropping the news that if he locks down a territory and drafts some construction crews, he'll make it rain even harder for Gary. Then he orders the guard to figure out a backdoor channel to the special detention block. I'll be paying those freaks a personal visit real soon. Gary's face instantly drains of color, absolute panic setting in. He stammers that the warden strictly handles that turf himself. If we poke around and it goes sideways, we're literally dead meat. Right on cue, a thug violently kicks the door open, screaming, that psycho Seoyun is absolutely wrecking our boys. Gary snaps, losing his mind. Didn't I specifically tell you idiots no brawling? But Cho just smirks and tells Gary to chill. I just want to teach these punks a little lesson, alright. Led by a grunt, Park Tae-ho strides right into the war zone. Meanwhile, a goon lurking in the shadows takes notes. Just like Wukong had his eyes glued to Seoyun, this guy is flipping the script, weaponizing Seoyun's blind spot to wipe out the opposition. Just the thought of his sister has Seoyun seeing red. But the trio gets smart. The two mid-sized dudes pin him down while the absolute tank winds up for a heavy hit. I honestly didn't even want to throw hands. Seoyun mutters that he didn't utter a single word. But bam, he's backed hard against the concrete. Too bad for them, that whole wall-pinning trick, totally obsolete now. This isn't the same old Seoyun. Minsu realizes the guy got a massive buff. But hey, so did Minsu. He's done being the punching bag everyone walks all over. Seoyun barks at him to stay out of his lane. Minsu fires back, telling him not to be dead weight. He even roasts him out loud. Bro, this is literally too easy. You almost got clapped by these scrubs. Seoyun snaps. I didn't almost lose you, absolute mama's boy. Minsu claps back. Shut up, you crazy sister-obsessed weirdo. Furious Seoyun dares him to step up. Right at that exact second, having floored the entire mob, the two actually start throwing down. But out of nowhere, Park Tae-ho crashes the party. With one brutal flying kick, he launches Minsu into the stratosphere. Am I right? Step up and run. The ones Minsu furiously demands why he's sticking his nose in. Unfazed, Taeho just shrugs off the tension and taunts. Let's see if you can actually tank this. I'm giving you one last out. Surrender your turf. Once I cop that red uniform, I swear I won't treat you like garbage. Hearing that Minsu connects the dots, the red uniform has to be the dude who spotted him some shampoo. But what the heck does that even mean? I am not letting this slide. The words barely leave his mouth before a black bag aggressively snatches over his head. Totally blindsided, Minsu is plunged into pitch black. Bam! Cho mercilessly kicks his skull and growls, "Listen up." While I'm still using my nice voice. My whole endgame for locking down a grade finding a heavy-hitting attack dog. Wait, is there actually someone matching Si-yoon's raw power? Honestly, Taiho is looking way more insane than our boy right now. Don't let Taiho's D-tier prison badge fool you. His raw muscle is straight up A-tier, and Si-yoon is feeling every single ounce of that pressure. Sure, they might be swinging with the exact same amount of damage, but Taiho's stamina is out of this world. The dude is literally face-tanking hits just to set up his own brutal counters. At this rate, Si-yoon is getting cooked. Then a flashback hits. He remembers Wook-sung drilling it into his head, your fighting technique and reach. Completely outclassed Minsu's. So why did you end up taking the L back then? Because he was a one-trick pony. If reach is your absolute best weapon, you gotta keep it under wraps. When your enemy flexes massive range, heavy-hitting power, and limitless stamina, how do you even survive? I'm gonna build a combat style from scratch, just for you. A brutal path to leveling up. That will completely rewrite the way you move. Back in the present, Si-yoon pushes himself off the floor. Taiho just sneers. Stay down, trash. We aren't even breathing the same air. Eyes blazing with fury, Si-yoon snaps back. I'm about to show you what a real gap in power actually looks like. And with that, he bursts forward like a bullet. Taiho roars. Hell yeah. Bring everything you've got. Make crushing you actually worth my time. But wait, are you seriously just gonna hide behind your guard? Man, that is wildly pathetic. Si-yoon knows deep down that turtling up is a death sentence. Why? Because during his hellish training, Wook-sung warned him that permanently guarding just anchors your feet in cement. The second your arms get heavy and drop, your enemy will rip right through your defense. The real hack is downloading your opponent's entire moveset, while you absorb their strikes. Don't just obsess over shielding yourself. Suddenly, Si-yoon's vision locks in. He starts reading. The big guy's every flinch. Taiho's shoulders tense up, signaling a massive heavy attack incoming. The longer he watches, the slower the fight feels. Taiho's attack patterns the exact speed of his fists. Even the split-second pauses when he steps back, it's all crystal clear. He has got the whole system figured out. Time to flip the script. Eating a Li, eating a jab. Taiho scoffs. Is that really it? But then, the entire vibe shifts. Si-yoon effortlessly weaves through every single punch and starts landing devastating bone-crushing counters right back at him. Si-yoon is doing the math. If Taiho keeps swinging this recklessly, his gas tank is going to hit zero real quick. Exactly like his old scrap with Minsu. Seriously, what a brain-dead move. And right now, it clicks. He finally gets why Minsu dropped him back then, and it makes him realize just how absolutely goated his master is. Just by making him watch. Wook-sung leveled him up this hard. Moments later, Si-yoon completely folds Taiho, leaving him knocked out cold. Yet his face is dead serious. Taking down a low-tier thug like this was already a massive struggle. If he actually wants to hunt down Lim Ji-soo, he has an insane grind ahead of him. Speaking of where the hell did Minsu run off to? He glances over and sees Cho endlessly wailing on his buddy, who literally has a dirty black bag shoved over his head. Cho gets in his face. You're seriously still not begging for mercy. Hurts like hell, doesn't it, you little punk? But honestly, to Minsu, Cho hits like a wet noodle. He's genuinely baffled at how someone's punches can be this pathetic. He's tanked beatings before, but suddenly it's like he got smacked upside the head with a reality check and everything clicks. He doesn't even know if it's from their brutal training arc or the last two scuffles. Meanwhile, Cho keeps running his big, arrogant mouth. If it stings so much, go cry to your mommy. Oh wait, my bad. You don't even have one. The second those words drop, he crosses a massive line. Minsu's chill mode instantly turns off. You just signed your death warrant, scumbag. He viciously kicks Cho straight in the nuts, introducing him to a whole new universe of pain. But out of nowhere, a terrifyingly familiar voice demands to know what the hell is going on. Wook-sung points dead at Minsu. I specifically told you, zero fighting. Minsu scrambles to defend himself. Man, I didn't even start it. Si-yoon was out here getting jumped, and I just hopped in to save his skin, but Wook-sung casually smacks him upside the head. A scrap is a scrap, idiot. Then the boss turns to Si-yoon, demanding to know what kind of stunt Minsu just pulled. Si-yoon looks him dead in the eye, totally serious. We didn't throw the first punch. These lowlifes were trying to mess with my sister and terrorize the helpless grandparents around here. Hearing that, Wook-sung's face straight up drops. Guard Jung yells, "You seeing this? I literally warned you to stay away from those freaks. Now they're walking around acting untouchable. Better get ready to draft up that write-up." But right then, Samin crashes the party. "Guard Jung, forget the write-up. You better start prepping for a lawsuit." Jung looks totally clueless, demanding to know who she is. Samin just smirks, whipping out her phone to play a video. The screen flashes his sketchy backdoor deals with Cho in the storage room. Instantly, Jung breaks into a cold sweat. Samin doesn't even blink. "You've been pocketing dirty money and faking official docs." The second she drops the mic, Jung lunges at her like a madman, desperately trying to snatch the phone. But Wook-sung shuts that down immediately. In one smooth move, he pins the guy to the floor. Wook-sung and Samin share a knowing smirk. Thank God she stepped in and flipped the script right on time. Wook-sung instantly hits up the command hotline to report the scumbag. The second the call connects, Jung starts panicking and spilling secrets, screaming that he isn't the only one. "The guards handling the red suit inmates are hauling in way more cash than me." Hearing the words "red suits" hits Wook-sung like a freight train. When command answers, he actually covers for Jung, playing it cool and saying he was just checking the return schedule. Realizing he just dodged a massive bullet, Jung desperately thanks him. "Sergeant Kang, Wook-sung glares at him. "I'll pretend I didn't see anything this time, but you're gonna spill everything about those red suit inmates." Kang Wook-sung is totally thrown off. Isn't this whole rehab center supposed to fix these juvenile delinquents? But there are always those beyond saving, letting those monsters back into society. So basically, the red suits exist for one dark reason: to stop anyone else from walking out those gates easily. Kang Wook-sung is baffled. Doesn't that make the whole point system and reform reviews a complete joke? Jung scoffs at how clueless he is. Have you ever actually seen anyone leave this hellhole the right way? That's exactly what the red suits are paid to do. They target and utterly crush any inmate who racks up enough points and gets dangerously close to freedom. Long story short, a smooth exit is literally impossible. Meanwhile, Lee Min-soo bounced back from volunteer duty a week ago, and now he is just 50 points away from sweet freedom. The guards in this place are still absolutely ruthless. Brawls keep breaking out left and right among the kids. Probably because Min-soo and Yoon-jun completely humbled them, the guys in Cell C have finally stopped running their mouths. Right now, the only thing living rent-free in Lee Min-soo's head is how to reply to Sarah's confession when the next supply drop hits. Originally, Kang Wook-sung dragged Lee Min-soo down here for warehouse cleaning duty. But plot twist, the place is already spotless, and Gu Se-yoon is chilling there too, grinding out an intense workout. Lee Min-soo is so confused. If this room is already squeaky clean, why even bring him down here? But before he can even finish his sentence, Kang Wook-sung slaps a pair of steel. Min-soo is totally lost, but Kang Wook-sung just tells him to freeze. Then he pulls a ball from a massive crate of tennis balls, claiming he found the ultimate way to level up Min-soo's skills. From here on out, Min-soo's hands are totally chained up. All he has to do is dodge whatever fastballs Kang Wook-sung hurls at his face. To make things worse, every single throw is going to be faster than the last. Min-soo barely dodges the first one out of pure luck. But the insane speed of the second ball hits him like a giant wake-up call. That is exactly what he's missing right now. Raw, gut-level reflexes when facing random threats and crazy variables. Lee Min-soo stares blankly, not getting what Kang Wook. He already wrecked Gu Se-hyun and Jung Do-bo. Doesn't that mean he's cracked enough to skip training? Kang Wook-sung immediately humbles him. Did you actually win those fights fair and square? All three of your fighting styles are insanely basic and one-dimensional. Min-soo just got lucky and camped on their weak spots. But imagine if Gu Se-hyun had actually come prepared. He would have completely taken an L. Honestly, if Lee Min-soo hadn't randomly leveled up his leg strength, there is zero chance he could have bodied Jung Do-bo like that. Right now, Gu Se-hyun is grinding out basic combat stats with Kang Wook-sung. Wook-sung is low-key hoping Min-soo jumps on the training grind too, even though the dude absolutely despises throwing hands. This place is a straight-up death trap. Ever since Junji dropped that lore about the red prison uniforms, Wook-sung knows he has to buff Min-soo up enough just so the guy can survive and catch a normal release. Meanwhile, cut to the construction supervisor Lee Kang-min having a tense little chat with the Room 2 boss Lee Chul. Lee Chul is totally convinced this penitentiary is just a mirror of the outside world. He thinks that with enough cash flowing, you can easily puppet both the inmates and the guards. So he is pitching a team-up to Kang-min. The master plan: take over a special detention block, the exact zone where those infamous red uniforms are locked up. If Kang-min signs on, Chul is dangling a juicy 20% cut of the enterprise profits, banking him around $4,000 of clean net income every single month. And hey, if Kang-min is crazy enough to want a red uniform for himself, Chul promises to pull the strings and make it happen, but Kang Min's comeback completely floors him. Kang Min smirks, declaring that no matter how fire the master plan is, squatting up with absolute weaklings would totally trash his reputation. Hearing that massive disrespect, Chul just snaps his fingers. I guess I will give you a little more time to process things. By the way, why exactly did you think I set up this one-on-one with zero guards or lackeys around? As the echo of his snap fades, the heavy hitters step out of the shadows. Im Chol-soo from room 2, Jung Sung-hyun from room 3, Park Tae-ho from room 1 and Ho Sung-jin from room 6 all rolling up one by one. 4 top-tier room bosses instantly box Kang Min in. Chul hits him with a smirk. So how about now? Ready to switch up your answer? Kang Min just slowly slides off his glasses. Not bad using fat stacks to hire some decent muscle, but do you seriously think 4 guys is enough? Flashback to the yard. Lee Min-soo, staring down a relentless barrage of tennis balls getting blasted at him by Kang Wook-sung, has totally locked in. His footwork is surgical, his dodges are insanely crisp, burning zero wasted energy. The crazy part, Min-soo has literally never trained for this. The dude's raw talent is straight up S tier. Seeing that this basic drill is not even making him sweat anymore, Wook-sung ruthlessly cranks the dial to phase 2 of the evasion training. Forget those predictable straight-line throws. This time, every single ball is coming with a nasty secondary bounce. Plus, the pitching speed just skyrocketed. This completely forces Min-soo to not only track the heat coming straight at his face, but to frantically monitor for ricochet strikes, clipping him from his blind spots. These sneaky blind spot hits are a total nightmare, something even pro fighters would struggle to handle. The whole point of this brutal Phase 2 is for Min-soo to grind out pure battle sense, learning how to tank multi-angle blitzes and rewire his brain for pure instinctual dodging. But Min-soo is super confused. He gets the dodging part, but why the heck are his arms restricted? Wook-sung breaks it down, saying your arms are ultimate tools, built for both dropping heavy damage and blocking hits, meaning you only deploy them when dodging or parrying is physically impossible. Meanwhile, after sweating through the grind, Gu Shi-yoon is leveling up way faster than anyone predicted, but they still have a massive mountain to climb. Wook-sung is strictly here to play the role of a coach. At the end of the day, the only thing that is going to make them overpowered is not him, it is their own willpower. Because the training menu Wook-sung just cooked up, it is going to be absolute hell. Only by pushing past their breaking point will they finally unlock their true latent potential. But if they wipe out and fail to make the cut, their potential, yeah, it is going to stay just that potential. But honestly, Kang Wook-sang is mad curious. After surviving that absolute nightmare of a boot camp, who is meanwhile cut to guard John-ji, he cracks open the door to a super sketchy behind closed doors meetup between Lee Kang-min and Lee Cho. By the way, Kang-min already completely wiped the floor with the 4 block bosses. Now it is just Lee Cho left, literally begging John-ji for help. But here is the massive plot twist: John-ji and Kang-min, they are already teaming up. This whole fake meeting was a complete setup. Their actual endgame, squeezing the vault passcode out of Lee Cho to raid his personal stash. Kang-min's crew, using the exact coordinates John-ji leaked to them, have already completely ambushed Lee Cho's base. And bro, there is a cool 200 million just sitting right there. Based on their shady little handshake deal, John-ji gets a clean 10% cut. Kang-min promises to wire the bags today, but there is one massive catch. John-ji has to personally summon the inmates from the special lockup zone. Flash forward to the next morning. Min-soo heads to kitchen duty, only for Jung Dobo to awkwardly hit him with the news he is totally off the kitchen crew. Guard John-ji swoops in, claiming the kitchen is way too overstaffed and they are making cuts. He then slyly asks if Min-soo is down to pivot over to the heavy lifting construction crew, since they desperately need bodies. Min-soo stares at the transfer slip, his spidey senses definitely tingling. Is making this major move without Wook-sang's green light actually a smart idea? What if this completely sabotages their whole master plan? But with John-ji basically forcing his hand, this is his only shot at grinding out those survival points. Left with 0 solid options, Min-soo folds and accepts the gig. Dobo watches him walk away, silently praying the kid keeps his guard up. Because getting booted from the kitchen straight into the dirt, yeah, that is 100% a calculated trap. Cut to a bit later. Min-soo rolls up to the loud, dusty construction yard, taking one look at the absolute units glaring at him. He is genuinely questioning if these giant dudes are actually high schoolers. He is sweating, just begging the universe that the boss here is not a total psycho like Jung Dobo. If he is dealing with another power-tripping meathead, he is totally cooked. Suddenly, Supervisor Lee Kang-min smoothly strolls up. He tells his goons to chill out and stop jump-scaring their brand new helper. He even tosses Min-soo a fresh pair of work gloves. Yo, I am the head of construction around here, Lee Kang-min. Going barehanded around this heavy machinery, yeah, that is an absolute death wish, man. Kang-min loudly reminds his squad that the rookie has zero experience with these power tools, so they better carefully show him the ropes. He gives Min-soo this super warm big brother smile, adding that if he ever hits a wall, his door is always wide open. Hearing that, Min-soo lets out a massive sigh of relief. He honestly believes that dodging the kitchen for this construction crew was a massive win for him. This boss is super chill and supportive, basically the exact opposite of Dobo, but he is totally clueless, because the second he turns around, Kang-min's eyes lock onto him, staring him down like a totally starved predator. Cut to the dark side of the prison. Thanks to some serious string pulling an inmate rocking a red jumpsuit, struts right out of the maximum security isolation ward. She loudly complains to the guard, totally disgusted by how these punks survive in this dump. Man, this whole place reeks of crusty old losers. The guard glares back, harshly barking that she gets exactly 5 minutes on the clock. Do your dirty work and get back. As the heavy steel door groans open, the red-suited phantom steps straight into Lee Kang-min's private turf. And boom, massive plot twist, this terrifying VIP inmate. It is actually a girl named Park Hyo-shin. The goons drop their jaws. How the heck did a girl end up locked in a brutal boys-only juvenile prison, even if she has that hardcore tomboy swagger? But Kang-min sharply snaps his fingers, ordering his dogs to drop their heads and plug their ears tight. They instantly submit. Hyoshin smirks, openly mocking them. Ah, are you boys just playing Mafia? How freaking cute. Kang-min coldly snaps back that until he drops the magic word. His crew is practically deaf and blind. Hyoshin tilts her head, sizing him up. So you are the famous Lee Kang-min. Gotta admit, your vibe does not suck. Kang-min just narrows his eyes. You are definitely not the same Park Hyoshin I met before. Park Hyo-shin steps up, explaining that Kim Oh-ryong has bigger fish to fry. Oh, are you bummed out? Not a fan of me. Lee Kang-min coolly pushes up his glasses. Not disappointed, just observing a new face. Catching his intense stare, Park Hyo-shin dramatically shields her face. Yikes, staring at me like that totally gives me the creeps. Lee Kang-min's brain is working in overdrive. She looks incredibly fragile, yet she's rocking a red prison uniform.